Introduce ourselves, and then we'll move into the silent prayer and pledge of allegiance.
Madam President, I'm Bridget Doherty, and I'm running the public commission.
Leslie Hervey, interim clerk.
Alicia Reese, Vice President of the Hamilton County Commission Board.
Good afternoon. I'm County Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Jeff Aludo, County Administrator.
Thank you all. Stephanie Summerall Dumas, President of the Commission. So we will start out with a silent prayer, and usually I'm really specific about asking you guys if you could have a silent prayer, but there have been so many tragedies since we last met. I don't want to leave anybody out. I talked about Kentucky on Tuesday. So if you could just say a silent prayer for those during this season, I certainly would appreciate it. Thank you. Amen. If you could stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next order of business is approval of the minutes of this previous session. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes,
Commissioner Reese,
yes.
Commissioner Driehaus.
Yes,
thank you so much. Next order on the agenda is presentations. Vice President Reese.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a proclamation today to present to Winton Woods. I think they're on Zoom, hopefully. It's a lot of it. If you could raise your hand, Eric Martin, principal of Winton Woods High School, Chad Murphy, head football coach, Winton Woods High School, and Carlton Gray, Winton Woods High School defensive coordinator. You can raise your hand on Zoom. Get them on? Okay, great. We have a proclamation today for the Winton Woods High School football team, Ohio High School Association Division II state champions. You can clap on that. Whereas the 105 players of the Winton Woods Warriors football team fought hard to maintain a successful 2021 season to reach the Division II state championship game, including a win over Green Bulldogs 20-7 to advance to the state championship. Whereas on December 2nd, 2021, the Warriors achieved victory 21-10 over Archbishop Hobben Knights in the Ohio High School Athletic Association Division II state championship game to win the Division II title, a first for the Warriors since 2009. And whereas head coach Chad Murphy and the entire coaching staff, team member, parents, faculty, student body, and the Winton Woods community were integral in guiding the team to victory through their unwavering support. Whereas Hamilton County is very proud of the Winton Woods Warriors High School football team for their strong finish and successful winning season. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners hereby congratulate the Winton Woods Warriors High School football team for a victorious season and commends the team on winning the Division II state championship. And be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners declare and proclaim that Thursday, December 16th, 2021, be known as 2021 Winton Woods Warriors High School Football Team Champions Day in all of Hamilton County. It is signed by President Stephanie Summerall Dumas, myself, Vice President Commissioner Alicia Reese, and Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Why don't we allow him to say a few words and then we can speak on it? Yes.
Go ahead, Coach.
Can you hear us?
Jeff, do you want to say a few words for the team?
We just like to thank everybody for recognizing the kids at our school district. They did a tremendous job of fighting through a lot of adversity and coming a long way from the beginning of the season and being able to bring back the state championship, Southwest Ohio and Hamilton County.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the kids did a fantastic job and represented really well. We're very proud of the young men and the cheerleaders, the band, all the parents, all the following and support that we got and had here in Southwest Ohio.
Thank you. Madam President, I just want to also let them know that we have the proclamation. It's framed. It will be sent to you and for the whole team. It's signed by all of us. And at our meeting, I had mentioned that you were at the state championship. I got a chance to go to the watch party and screaming at the screens. And it just, I mean, it was like all of Forest Park had come out. So congratulations. And I want to thank my colleagues for this support.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you.
Thank you
Just
very much.
congratulations to you and to the team. I know what an effort it is to just get the players on the field sometimes, especially with the pandemic raging in our community. So congrats for this distinction to you and to all your players and your team.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. It's real
Thank
exciting
you.
to be a Warrior.
Thank you so much. And of course, congratulations. Winton Woods is near and dear to my heart, as Withrow, I'm sure, is to you. And my son graduated from Winton Woods High School. And I also helped on the school levies and taught some classes of healthy relationship to some of the teens there. And so I participated in the parade this weekend, and it was awesome. So thank you for the invitation. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, we have Susan Schumacher is here. Come forward, yeah. What, do you mind? Just come to the podium. We're gonna recognize you. Now, you didn't know, so is it Schumacher? Did I guess? Okay, very good. I'm gonna read this. We want to recognize you today. Susan Schumacher, 30 years work milestone. Since 1991, Susan Schumacher has been an employee of the Hamilton County Environmental Services. Susan served first as a receptionist for the department and then moved over to the solid waste side as an administrative assistant. In 2006, Susan became the assistant solid waste specialist in her time with Hamilton County. Susan has become the go-to person when it comes to answering any questions about recycling and solid waste. On any given year, Susan handles thousands of phone calls and email questions from Hamilton County residents and businesses. Her outstanding customer service has resulted in frequent accolades from residents and businesses. Susan was recognized in 2008 as Hamilton County Employee of the Year with the Customer Service Excellence Award, and then again in 2017 and 19 with Team Impact Awards. Susan's passion for her job continues to amaze both her coworkers and supervisors, current and former. Susan also has a little-known creative streak and has been the quiet idea person behind the fun black and white How to Dry Out latex paint video. I have to watch that. As our Take Back Your Home campaign to reduce household hazardous waste. Lastly, Susan's organization, passion, and teamwork are the reason the district has been so successful in its 20+ years. As Jeff Aludo, former solid waste district manager, stated, without her, the office truly would be lost. Thank you, Susan, for your 30 years of dedicated public service, helping make Hamilton County a greener place to live. Congratulations. So I'm going to have my colleagues say a few words about you. And would you like to, you look like you're chomping at the bit to say something.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead. I will let you go on and say.
okay,
it.
I just want to say, I don't think I've made it 30 years without my amazing supervisors that I've had other year. Jeff Aludo, Holly Chrisman, Michelle Baltz, Brad Johnson.
Awesome.
They make it all worthwhile, and they just, they make you want to do more and more and more and more. So
Mhm.
I just really enjoyed my job. I could have retired 3 years ago, but I'm still here.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So I'm gonna let my colleagues say something, then we're gonna come down with you and give you your 30-year pin. Vice President Reese.
I just want to say congratulations. I hate I'm just meeting you and you already got 30 years. So, but thank you for your service and everything that you've done for Hamilton County.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate that.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Congratulations. I am fairly new to the solid waste space, but have quickly learned how complicated issues can get, but how important the issues are related to solid waste in this community for our constituency and for the environment. And so, to say that you're the go-to person, I think might understate it just a little bit. That's been my experience for sure. So congratulations, and we hope you stick around a little bit longer.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We're gonna come down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since you're a little tall. Very good. We will now move on to public comments. And the question is, do we have any public comments? And more than ever, I believe. So Bridget, we'll take these first and then whoever's on Zoom. So I have Sandra Jones Mitchell. If you could come forward, please. And you have 2 minutes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Mhm.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Really appreciate this opportunity to come in before you and just talk a little bit about what I do in the community and serving the elders. SOAC is an organization here in Hamilton County. We've been serving senior citizens for almost 30 years. And I see our seniors are struggling. And I have a couple folks with me today. And our organization is to try to focus a lot on how do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them at home to prevent premature institutionalization? As you know, with COVID, things have been a lot different for our elders. They are really having a hard time maintaining that social contact in our communities and with agencies. And it's just really our opportunity to ask for support financially so that we can continue to do what we do with our seniors here in Hamilton County. It's been interesting. It's been a long journey. Now I'm that next wave of senior citizen, and it's a lot more work than I anticipated for our seniors. And I really just feel for them. Inside the nursing homes is just really struggling as well. I don't know what part Hamilton County played in visiting our nursing homes, but I can truly tell you there is a need there to increase some attention to that group, seniors that are there too. There's no reason for COVID to be wrapping through our nursing homes the way it is when most of the seniors are not even going out. So that means that we're bringing it to them. So just to have your bus that you have, I would like to see that bus maybe in front of one of the nursing homes so that they can be tested a little bit more regular and maybe some getting them a little bit more information about what COVID is. And so just having you here and being here is exciting for me. I've known many of you, I've seen you around the community, you've seen me around, but as an advocate, I cannot stress how important it is to have our seniors a part of what is happening on day to day. Glad it's on Zoom, so a lot of them can touch base with that. So please support SOAC and the Cincinnati Black Walk of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we did have our press conference yesterday for nonprofits, so certainly put in
Yes,
an application for that purpose.
we
So
would definitely.
when you
do that.
talk about seniors, you're now talking about me. Before we were talking about youth and I could, but regardless, seniors are extremely important to our
Extremely
society.
important. And thank you.
You're welcome. Whoever has comments as it relates to solid waste, we're going to have you comment when we discuss the by-leave of solid waste. So just hold on, we will get with you. And then this is for Susan, whoever could take that to her, Jeff or something, that's her. Our next speaker is Bernicia Finch. She's talking about senior services also.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
So my name is Bernicia. I am piggybacking off of what Sandra Jones-Mitchell said. I'm her right-hand woman and the youngest on the field on the line. So I'm here to educate that next range of seniors. So I have been teaching our seniors how to stay engaged with through technology, teaching them how to use a tablet. So my purpose of being here is just for support. How can I get more support just to help me to continue to provide that service by teaching them how to use a tablet? A lot of our seniors don't even have an email address, never heard of email address, never heard of a tablet, doesn't know how to navigate through a smartphone or anything. And that's kind of the purpose that I'm serving here. So that's kind of why I'm here today, just for that additional support for them. Like I said, she's the next wave of seniors and I'm next up to take care of the seniors. So that's my sole purpose of being here today. And just to let you all know what it is that we do here in the community as far as the seniors when it comes to technology and staying engaged.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for all that you do.
No problem.
Carol Brown.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm also here on behalf of SOAC. I have my T-shirt on that says "All Life Matters,"
Oh, yes.
and we do matter. And I'd like to talk a little bit about as being one of the participants and also a board member. The activities that have been able to, and I've even running into seniors now that, you know, are not even in our buildings, they're in homes, and they're asking me, how do we get involved? There are things we like to do. You know, we've been able to, COVID has stopped some things, the line dancing, just being able to get together and to talk. Like you said, the tablets, someone being able to walk you through the modern technology, because it's not easy as a senior citizen to, you know, to have things forced on you, it seems as, you know, and we have to take the time to tell them it's okay. You know, we will make it. We've been through so much. And this is just the beginning. It doesn't stop now. You know, and I also have a letter from the Senior and Supportive Service Coordinator, Mercy Neighborhood Ministries, because we also work with other agencies to make sure that our seniors are just being engaged in all of Hamilton County, and now it's Butler County. We're looking to go all over the world before it's over with, to what we can do to make our seniors know that you still matter. You know, this is not the end. You don't have to stay in. They want to do. And when you're not able to do these things, you feel like I have no use anymore, because most seniors want to be independent. And this gives them a chance to be independent. And this is what senior citizen looks like. Thank you.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your comments. Okay, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Viola Brown. And rest assured, those that are here for the senior services support and encouragement and advocacy, that senior citizens are, senior services are on the top of our list as it relates to priorities. So thank you, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. President Dumas, thank you so much for reminding us that you do care, along with Vice President Alicia Reese and Commissioner Driehaus. Thank you very much. I too am here to represent SOAC, Serving Older Adults Through Changing Times. Our elderly have already been through so much. And one thing for sure, if you live long enough, you too will be a part of this organization or this group. I just want to remind everyone that during the pandemic, we saw some graven images of seniors being tossed aside. And it went not unnoticed, but there was not a lot of action. So I'm calling and asking people to come to action. Get to the point where you not only acknowledge us, but support us. We need your help. We can't do it alone, and we are part of the community. And I'm asking you, don't allow us to be tossed aside as we saw what was happening during the pandemic with other senior citizens who were not able to communicate with family or were not able to be a part of the community. Remember us and remember that we too have purpose, life. There's still a lot of life in all of us. So support us, encourage us. It's a call to action, and thank you very much. And again, I just want to also thank Sandra Mitchell, Sandra Jones Mitchell and her staff because they've done a tremendous job, but we need more help. We need more support. So to everyone, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you being involved in the future.
Thank you so much. And I think that was really good what you said about a call to action, because you talked earlier about partnering with other organizations. So I'm going to ask that all of you, if you know other senior services that are working out there, let them know about the nonprofit applications that are available so we don't miss them either, okay? Vanessa Warner. Vanessa Warner. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Mhm.
I also stand here in support of the SOAC organization. To me, it's very important to support our seniors because one day I will be a senior and it's coming up quicker than I want it to be. But SOAC, they have done a lot for the community and they keep the seniors active because a lot of seniors, they have more energy than me. So it's important that they get out and do things to keep the community active. So everybody in their family has a senior, right? So I stand here on behalf to support the seniors. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Edmund Parson. Edmund Parson. Okay. Raphael Prophet.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thanks for allowing me to speak. My background is in public safety. I'm a retired firefighter. And a part of the relationship when I was on the fire department is the previous president of Cincinnati African American Firefighter Association. We partnered with the organization as SOAC to alleviate a lot of the issues that we saw as firefighters were suffering from: falls, a lot of times isolation with seniors in the African American community. So when Sandra asked me to come and speak in behalf not only of SOAC but those services that help our seniors, I was glad to do it. And so I'm here not only just advocating for SOAC, but if you commissioners can sort of help collaborate with a lot of the different sources that we have to identify with some of the senior issues, especially those underserved seniors in African American community, with the falls, with a lot of the data points that we know, but also with some of the tools we have, such as reverse 911, that we can reach out to our seniors who don't have those connections to a lot of the the social media that many of us had during the pandemic. So again, I just wanted to come and speak in support of SOAC and the seniors, and just asking for your support, continued support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gina Heater.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. I am here for SOAC as well. And before COVID, we were providing products and education on arthritic and diabetes with products that help them. They aren't always able to take care of their feet. And so we were there to do that for them. If your feet don't move, you don't go anywhere. So we need this program, and we need to have SOAC funded, so we're asking for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Denise Aleve Woodorf. Yes, I need to.
Hi, yes, my name is Denise Allen Woodard, and I'm
Woodard,
here
yeah.
also for SOAC. I work in the office with Sandra and also go to different nursing homes and did socialization and recreation with the seniors. Before the pandemic, it was really a grave issue. And with the pandemic hitting and after, it's really bad right now. And I know firsthand of premature institutionalization into a nursing home. I am the daughter of a 93-year-old who lived in Park Eaton, and there was no training of learning how to use technology as far as like doors and keyless door entries. She was forced to move to a different unit, and she didn't know anything about how to use a key card or digital stoves. They were just thrown into different apartments. And from that stress, she had a stroke and was placed into a nursing home, the baby place. So I am her voice, and I am going to continue to be the voice of many seniors, because there's a lot of people out here, a lot of seniors that don't have a voice. So I am just advocating for funding for SOAC because it's a grave issue. And one day I will be there. I'm 55. But like I said, I'm the voice for my mom, and I'm the voice for the seniors in all the communities. And I will continue to walk and do my part to make sure that they get what they need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for coming. I want to call Edmund Parson if he's here. We missed him before. I didn't want to. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have Bill Rumpkel. Now he's solid waste. We're going to wait on you. Okay. Renee Gersick, Union. You're from the Union? You want to speak? Okay. And what is his name? Where is he? Okay, Michelle? Because it said JFS. Okay, yeah. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me and the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to share concerns that pose significant and foreseeable impact on Hamilton County Job and Family Services and the people of Hamilton County. The concerns: hazard pay and turnover rates. The emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the lives of the entire world. It created a wave of people unexpectedly without income and resources to care for their family. Many families turned to JFS. JFS frontline workers stepped up and responded to the call, serving the increased needs of this community. Client services processed substantially more public assistance applications, answered calls, doubled the normal volume, worked necessary overtime processing cases. They're in the lobby interacting with consumers, answering questions, and collecting documents. They're working in the field and the 513 relief bus. Child support is interacting face-to-face, serving consumers, have and continue to come into the office to perform their essential job duties. They too face casework overload. Mailroom workers have not ceased to meet the mail demands of the agency. Children's services workers have outrageous caseloads. They're dangerously understaffed. They serve the most vulnerable population and are spending more and more time away from their families, serving the community. JFS frontline workers have been performing essential work for the past 21 months under the impacts of COVID. These functions performed while stretched and understaffed. Hazard pay for JFS is coming 21 months after the emergence of COVID, and it fails to recognize and acknowledge the ways that all JFS workers, frontline workers, have and will continue to provide essential services to this community in the pandemic. The department heads at JFS who made the decisions to strategically and arbitrarily divide us with these hazard payment amounts, $450 for some and $1,000 for others, is sending a very strong message. You are essential, but not that essential. You're exposed, but not that exposed. At risk, but not at much risk. You're overworked, but not that overworked. Drained, but not that drained. JFS has lost 190 employees approximately this year, an increase from 2020, which is 140 from about 140 from last year. The demand for these essential services is high, but the supply for the workers is becoming less and less. If these concerns are not strongly taken under advisement, continue to be disregarded and not taken seriously with significant change being made to this county, here's what Hamilton County can count on. Employee turnover rates to increase, call hold times for services to increase delays in public assistance being distributed, delays in child support cases being processed, increased children in potential danger, interruptions and reunification for children and their families, child abuse and neglect investigations taking longer, and missing state mandated deadlines, just to name a few. The voice of the people will no longer continue to go unheard. Appreciation for the loyalty, the commitment, and the hard work of these people can no longer be neglected. And we will come back if necessary and if need be. The time for change is now, it's overdue, and for such a time as this. And the change must take place, and you know where it can take place? With this hazard pay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. And you need to know that you're not alone, that hazard pay is and the distribution of hazard pay is on the top of my list as it relates to the disparity or the discretionary way that it was disseminated. So that is a very important concern to me. I know you wanted to, some of you wanted to get your pay when other people got their pay, but delay is not denial. I am looking at that personally. I can't speak for other commissioners, but I think we need to be very careful of how we distribute the pay, the hazardous pay and the incentives, because we're all here alive. We made it here. We made it through. We worked through it, as you were saying. So it's not unheard. It's not to a deaf ear for me anyway. So I just wanted to let you know that, and I appreciate your passion. I'm also a social worker, and so I understand what social workers do. So I definitely can relate to you and the other ones. So thank you so much. Okay. Did you look like you wanted to say something? No? Okay. Okay, I didn't know I could, okay. Okay, Renee Gerzik, did you want to speak now?
First wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak here today, but I wanted our union rep to come in first and say what she felt needed to be said.
Pull it down just a little.
Can you hear me?
The interpreters, yeah, pull it down just a little. Yeah,
Okay,
there you
can hear
go.
me okay?
Uh-huh.
Well, again, like I said, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I wanted to speak after our union rep did her part. I'm here because I want you guys to understand that we are on the front line. I'm in child support. We were here, you know, whether it was part-time or full-time, and the exposure was real. The caseloads are high. They may not be as high as children's services, but they are high. I have coworkers that have multiple caseloads and not enough time in the day to do it. So I'm just hoping that, you know, while we're here, that it's understood that we were all in it together. We were all trying to get through it. We were all trying to work the cases the best that we could. And I think that people need to be recognized for the work that's being done, whether it's, you know, here or whether it's in the pocketbook. I have a coworker right here that's probably got at least 3 caseloads and very little help to get it done. So I'm just hoping that you guys can respect that position that we hold.
Thank you so much for your comments. Janice Barkley. Welcome.
Yes, my name is Janice Barkley. I am an intake maternity worker. I come to work every day. I do not work from home.
She can't lift, you're a little taller than the other one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, very good.
I'm an intake maternity worker. I do not work from home. I do come into work every single day. What I do, people need to see me. They cannot be helped over the phone or by Zoom. I see anywhere from 6 to 10 people, sometimes more a day. They all need that personal help with their applications. I have to sit down with them. I have to go over these applications with them. Some of them can't even understand the application. Some can't even read, so it's a person to person thing that I do each and every single day. I make myself available for the people of Hamilton County, but I also make myself available for people who I work with, the employees of Hamilton County. We are all exposed to COVID. We all can get COVID. COVID doesn't care who's essential and who's not. But I feel like my services are essential. And why are my services not essential as essential as others? And others get, and I don't. I feel that I do deserve hazard pay. I do deserve it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mark Cato.
Good afternoon, commissioners. And,
Afternoon.
thank you for letting me come and speak here before you today. I am the union rep for the Hamilton County Job and Family Services employees. I know you all know me. We've talked on many occasions. What I'm coming to do here today is to make sure that the voices of all Hamilton County Job and Family Service workers are heard today. And so what I want to do is read something from one of our workers, a man named Neil Kelly. He said, since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in March of 2020, America has seen unprecedented times of skyrocketing poverty and increased rates of child abuse in our country. I don't think anybody can deny that. And I think everybody who's been at JFS knows that. At Hamilton County Job and Family Services, and I think this is what is the most important, there have been 63 confirmed instances of my coworkers being infected with COVID-19. To be clear, that isn't 63 people. The only information they are given is that it was on 63 occasions. An unknown number of JFS employees have tested positive for COVID-19 or have made direct contact with someone who has. Despite this danger, employees are in the community 24/7, protecting children by diligently entering homes to remove children and or place them in safer climates, and by jumping on a mobile bus to drive out in our community to help our neighbors receive rental, utility, medical, and food aid. And just to be clear, that is not just children's services workers. That is every single worker at the agency. It is more than children's services workers. To thank us for our efforts, county administration has consistently dragged their feet in offering hazard pay. First, they outright refused. They did that directly to me at the table, no matter what anybody says today. I was there. Then, after a protest led by me, Ask Me Ohio Council 8, that garnered bad press, they relented. Since then, they've dragged their feet. This was in April 2021. I got an email on November 18th of 2021 that told me I had to accept an offer or they were going to put it out to county employees. And that's what they did. That's not only immoral, but it might even be illegal. What's called bargaining in bad faith. That's what's happening to these JFS workers. And so they're here because we want you all to know, because I know and respect every single commissioner up here. Now I'm worried about your county administration though, because the way they've conducted themselves is wrong. And the way that they've treated these county workers is wrong. And enough is enough. And we're here to tell you that what they put on the table is unfair, it's arbitrary, and no worker thinks that that's what they deserve. And they need to bargain in good faith. They need to come to me, they need to come to the table, and they need to say, this is what we're offering. What do you think is fair? It's not fair to come and tell me that this is what we're going to give you and you need to swallow it or we're going to tell all your employees on you, okay? You can't wait 6 months to bargain with us and then just put out an email that tells everybody this is what they're going to get. That's wrong.
So
Come to
thank
me.
you- Thank you, Mr. Cato. I'll let you have a few more minutes because
Okay.
you're representing more than just
Okay.
yourself. So
I would just say
thank
one
you
last
so
thing.
much.
Craig
Uh-huh.
Spataro, you can come and call me right after this. My phone is ready.
Okay, you can speak to him when you leave. Okay, thank you so much. No, it's not. Mr. Powell.
Madam President, as Mr. Powell's coming up, I wanted to say something about.
Can we
the-
just go to the speakers? You wanted to wait till the end, so that's what.
Oh,
we'll do.
is he here for Ask Me?
No, he's for the budget.
I wanted to wait till after the Ask Me people.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to hear from all of them. I just wanted to put on the table, you had mentioned earlier that we are working on this issue. I want to make sure that I'm all about one set of rules. That's my biggest thing. And so I do want to put on the record for our administration that we've got to have one set of rules. I also asked about hazard pay for those with the 513 relief bus because they're out there. So just wanted to let you know that those are questions that are being asked by different commissioners. And hopefully moving forward, we need to have one set of rules for all employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Powell.
To the union gentleman who just spoke, you hit the needle on the head, but you got to listen very closely to what I'm about to teach you. The key to a budget is priority. Look behind me and ask yourself, what do they all have in common? What class of people are we talking about? That's the question. Whether it be a senior, and they got the wrong math because I turned 50 on October 28th. And the very next week, I got the AARP letter. I thought it was a joke. I was laughing because I am considered a senior. The gentleman for the union just said, when I just repeated, because had we been talking about a Super Bowl or a stadium or a choo-choo train to go from here to there, we wouldn't be standing here. It's a class issue and it's a priority issue because certain groups would not have to come up here and get on the microphone and explain the thing to you. Trust me, sir. So that's what we're talking about. I was speaking with Alicia yesterday, and that's why I'm here. And I told Alicia, you're too nice, because I get confused all the time about what we talk about. Because perfect example, I'm here to talk about what? CCY, youth employment. That's a problem. What they're talking about is a problem. The union is a problem. What's going on right now with the Walk of Fame? We were just here thinking it was already finished, it's already complete. I talked to her yesterday, I thought the stars was already here. Now it's another question. So we'll be going back and forth on priority. Anybody behind me who ever had a budget know how it works. Your mother give you $5. You go to the store. You might get bologna, you might get bread, you might get cheese, you might sneak and get a piece of candy. But when you come home, if you don't have what she told you to have, there's a problem because you made a conscious decision on priorities. So I told Ms. Reese, I'm coming the last time. From this point forth, give us specifics with names. Is it the three that we've been cheering for? Is it the person behind the scene? Because it's too confusing. Too much confusion of our city asking how are we not talking about inclusion? Another thing that we all can talk about. Why are we fighting over people that look like us not getting contracts? So we got problems with economics and your priorities. Let me go sit down before I get mad. Have a nice day.
Well, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it, Mr. Powell. And so really, as it relates to confusion, there are priorities. I'm going to speak to that in just a little bit. I know when we talk about the Walk of Fame, there's no way that could have been done right away, but there was some misunderstandings on where we are and what we need to allocate. We're working on that now. Mr. Powell, he just, okay. See ya. No, that's okay. That's okay. But what I want to say is priorities are very clear for this board. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. And that I would just suggest and recommend that everyone keep up with the progress of what's going on with different projects and different issues. And we made a point when this COVID started, and since I've been here, that if there are issues or areas, seniors, youth, homeless, whatever it is, bring it forward. And we won't just talk about it. We're going to put the money where it needs to be. So when you bring up issues, I'm so glad that you guys are here. I am so glad because you hear about things, you don't see faces, but we need to put the faces with the issues. And so we're very cognizant. I think our board is very cognizant of the concerns that are going. They may not go as fast. The solutions may not go as fast as you want them to go, but they are going because I'm one of you, you're one of me. And so I've been out there, I've been through, you've been through, we've all been through, and we're trying to deal with those issues. You have historical problems that were here on this board for years. This board was here 225 years ago. I'm the first African-American ever to be on the board. Now, and what I'm saying about that, thank you for that, but what I'm saying about that is, who knows if it was on purpose? We don't care. We're here, we have a different experience, education, everything, and we're here to represent you. So just keep up with us, make us accountable. That's what we want you to do. And we're not forgetting about any issues that are on the forefront, because we're all impacted either directly or indirectly to what your needs are. So don't think, and I'm going to end it with that. I will end it with this, and if somebody else wants to say something, but don't think we're not listening. Not only do we listen, we hear you, and we put the money where the money needs to be. And I understand all the concerns that were presented today. So did you have any comments?
Quickly, I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate everybody coming in to bring your concerns forward to us. We're in the middle of a budget right now. We're about to pass the budget today. So you came on the right day, because this is the day where we prove our priorities. And I think what you're going to see in this budget is respect for workers. We're doing more for workers than we have in the past. And the other things related to seniors and youth, I just want to point out that there are 7 levies in this county that we have the authority to approve an increase for. Of those 7, there have been 2 levies that have gone for an increase over the recent past, and they're for seniors and youth. So that speaks to the priorities, I think, to the board. Can we do more? Should we do more through this general fund process? Yes, and we're trying to do that. And there have been some recommendations to us related to seniors and youth. And I think we're about to embrace those ideas as we pass this budget. So I appreciate you being here. Your voices are heard, and we look forward to you continuing to participate in this budget process. We do this every year. And so we will welcome your comments every year.
Madam President.
Yes.
I don't know where we're going to be moving on next. The most important thing of our job, I've been at the city as a vice mayor, vice chair of finance. I've been at the state on the finance committee. The number one thing we do is the budget. And I have been solidly focused. I know we've got some other issues that we're getting ready to discuss today, but I've been solidly focused on the budget. And I would hope that we could move forward, because there are some things that you all came down here for. You came down here about the budget, many of you that just spoke. And I don't know if we'll get to the budget before your meter runs out and you have to get back. But I want to say that there are some things that we all had to say different things we wanted to change and be a part of the budget. And I want you to know before you leave, because I don't know if it's going to go first or if it's going to go last or second or third. It should go first, because the number one thing we do, the number one reason you elect us, is to oversee your tax money, which is the budget. And in this budget, we do have tax levies. We ask people to go out and vote for these levies, but then I run into too many people. After you ask for the vote, we don't hear from you no more. Then you say you got to come in and there's a process and you got to apply, but you didn't ask all these questions when you asked them to vote. And a lot of these levies have a high outreach of African Americans voting for it. But then when I look at who got the contracts, it doesn't match up. So on seniors, which was not in the priority that was sent by the administration, they had their 5 priorities. Seniors wasn't mentioned. I said, I want to make sure seniors are mentioned. Yes, you do have a levy, but we see right here, a whole lot of seniors are not being touched. And so in this budget, and we got some other things when we get to the budget, but I want you to know it before you leave, I recommended $1 million for a senior fund.
Vice President Reese.
Yes, ma'am. Are we moving to the budget?
We're not moving to the budget. but
Okay, well, I got to tell them before they.
Well, no, if you could, point of order. We have people that are on Zoom that want to make comments also. So let's, Bridget, you have people on Zoom? Okay, let's hear from them.
Molly Hunter, our first speaker on Zoom.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Oh, maybe I can even show up. No, okay. I'm sorry I couldn't come down in person today. I would like to be there. But I do thank you very much for the opportunity to comment. And I'm here to comment on the proposed solid waste management district rules on solid waste facilities.
So,
which I understand
Molly,
you'll be considering shortly.
Ms. Hunter, if you
Yeah.
could hold on, because the solid waste rules comments will be coming after we complete the other comments.
Oh, okay.
Okay, who was the other person, Bridget?
He's on the solid waste also.
Okay, so if you can just hold on for a minute. Marilyn Wall, are you want to speak as it relates to the solid waste rules? I thought so. You can come on up. Would you like to come up? I didn't hear you. Okay, you'd like to talk about that then? Okay, very good. Okay, so our next item of business is comments and motions, Commissioner Vice President Reese.
Yes, I'd like to continue my comments. So in this budget, which we'll get more detail, but in case you have to leave, I want you to know that the recommendation was a $1 million fund to help seniors with utilities possibly, and other things that they need, furnaces and those kind of things. In addition to that, I have recommended, and the reason I came up with the idea really was from SOACT, because that's the only organization that I saw that was doing this type of work, reaching seniors at a different way, a different level, who had been not connected to a lot of the services that we already have. Part of the issue is making sure that people get connected. We can have the services, but do they get connected? And so in this budget, there is an opportunity for an organization that would serve diverse and low-income seniors to help them at about $25,000. Now you got to bid for it. But I wanted to let SOACT know is that I came with that idea after seeing the work that SOACT has done. There are some other issues in the budget. I'm excited to get busy with it because I think we've got some exciting things that help all of Hamilton County residents that they would love to hear while still keeping a balanced and structurally balanced budget. So looking forward to the comments and that getting busy on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And I need to clarify the fact that we all as a board see seniors as being important, and it cannot come forward in any budget unless two of the three of us agree with it. There was no question whether or not seniors were important to us. So it came forward as a board that was important to us. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to have the conversation related to the solid waste resolution, or what order we're going.
I'd
in.
like to just go on the order of the agenda, which is your comments. And then when we get to the by leaves for solid waste, then you can bring up what you have about solid waste, okay?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to bring the by leave forward.
Oh,
if
you're gonna
that's-
bring-
yeah, I'm looking for some guidance because I know we have a
I would
speakers
say
relay.
just, if you would, just have your general comments, and then when we go to by leaves, we can bring it forward. Otherwise, we'll be bringing solid waste and budget at the same
Okay.
time, so.
Okay, so in that case, that's what I have most of my
Mhm.
comments around is the resolution. It's by leave number 4.
Okay.
But I did want to note that we had a vaccine clinic, or do have a vaccine clinic down in the lobby right now. It was a great idea to do that. I can't remember whose idea it was, and I'm not sure it matters, but anyway, it was a very good idea. And we all walked through that coming in here, and many people are getting their boosters. Some people are getting their first shots, and there was a young boy there when I walked through. So super glad that the county is making that as available as possible to our employees. Over 70 people, when I walked back in around 12:30, had gotten vaccinated. So really grateful for that effort through public health.
Thank you so much. The vaccine clinic, I'm gonna have to pull this down for this because I want to make sure my words are very clear. The vaccine clinic was organized through my office, Bishop Hilton, my chief of staff, coordinated all of that and moved very quickly.
Good idea. Yeah, I
Very
didn't
quickly to
remember.
make it happen. It was well attended, so I thank him very much for that. This is our last legislative meeting for 2021. We will have a staff meeting on Tuesday, but this being our last legislative meeting, I had a few words that I'd like to say. And if I keep the mask on with the glasses, it'll fog up some. I apologize. We started in January 2020 on an uncharted path down a road which was extremely unfamiliar for us through the COVID-19. But as a staff and administration, as a board, it was a very painful road. We did not falter, turn back. We did not bend. We did not panic. We stood strong and steadfast through every obstacle. And that came up earlier with our JFS workers, not only them, but our other workers. We kept our focus because the people of Hamilton County are worth it. We, the staff, the commission, the board, kept our eyes on the prize and the promise that we would make the most impact possible to the most people. Unfortunately, we lost some casualties along the way, and we pray for them and their families every day. Never before has so much funding been deposited into Hamilton County through the CARES Act and ARP funding. We are committed to leave no one behind. The board disseminated and continues to disseminate millions of dollars to our people. Believe it or not, there are no perfect people in this room. Yes, maybe we could have disseminated some funds quicker, but on the side of caution, we had to have strategies and guidelines. We can always talk about the things that were done wrong or the things that have not been done as of yet. That's why we are all here. That's why you are here, to make a difference. In an effort to continue work with the staff, the administration, and our fellow commissioners, I will continue to give respect to those that have taken on these responsibilities. I will continue to treat the people that I want the way that I want to be treated. The millions dispersed were for home, this is just a few of them, homeless, rental assistance, youth services, nonprofits, mortgage relief, domestic violence, mental health, diversity and inclusion, seniors, small business, veterans, revitalization and community grants, increased staffing. And I want to thank JFS, United Way, CAA, and Talbot House for helping us to disperse this money. Through it all, we're still standing with a structurally balanced budget and a reserve like we've never had in decades. So with that being said, and that's why I wore my gold today, for the staff that have gone through it, some of them have experienced COVID. Some of them have lost. We have lost people. Our staff, our administration, the people that are working so hard to help these children and families. And if I had a gold medal, all of you in here would get one. But it was necessary at the end of this year, as we look at our budget and hopefully passing our budget, that we realize, I truly believe that we did all we could do to disperse this money. There's so much more we can do. There's so many agencies we know nothing about, and we need you to tell us more about it. But I think that you would be, I know that you would be proud of this board and what we've done, and to listen to your concerns and set the priorities. And they may be different in 2022, but I'm just so proud that we tried. What we really did is looked at a bucket of all the people, all the agencies, all the businesses, all the children. And where did we miss anybody? Did we miss anybody? And I don't think we did. We could have, as I said, we could have done more. We could have given more. And I hope we do in 2022, and I'll be a part of it. But I'm just really proud of where we are as a commission. And I'm very proud of our staff and our administration for listening to our agenda and moving that agenda forward, which is your agenda. So thank you very much. So we'll move forward to our commissioner, our administrator, Jeff Aludo. I don't think you want to be a commissioner, do you?
Oh, it depends upon the day, I guess, right? No, thank you, Madam President. And just a brief comment. I think all three commissioners have followed up with the administration on the administration of hazard pay dollars to various departments. We will provide a report directly to the board on that, the allocation process as the board is. And I just want to say it as it relates to this particular board, as we came out with our ARPA plan or ARP plan when we received those funds earlier this year. I just want to be clear that the board was very direct that.
Can you guys hear over there? Okay. Okay.
The board was very clear that hazard pay be one of was one of the first priorities placed into that ARPA plan. If you remember back in the CARES Act, we didn't have the ability to do hazard pay. That was corrected under the American Rescue Plan Act. So we implemented that at $3 million for hazard pay and began allocating that according to a policy of the board of $1,000 for employees who were essential employees who were directly impacted. And then there was 450 for employees who did not meet the specific Treasury guidelines. And I want to be very clear about that the Treasury Department is the one who sets those guidelines. And we had to monitor throughout the course of the year how those guidelines were changing and rules and guidance coming from Treasury in terms of how those dollars needed to be specifically implemented. So this has not been an easy task. We're trying to do our best to make sure that the employees of the county receive the additional hazard pay in a way that compensates for to some small degree for the exposure that they had. But we have to do it in a way that meets with the Treasury guidelines. And I do want to thank the department heads who have done that hard work. And it is hard work to look at the guidelines and figure out how you're going to allocate those amongst employee job classifications. I want to thank Frank Spataro specifically, who spent a huge amount of time trying to make this work over the past several months. And did we get everything right? We can't always say that. And as we've had conversations with the board, we're more than willing to take a look at job classifications or jobs where there may have been a miss on something and look and go back and make that right. Certainly take continued policy direction from the board as we go about doing that. So I just wanted to make that quick comment as it relates to hazard pay. And again, as I said, I'll follow up with the board directly on some more specific information.
Let me comment on your comments, Jeff. And you were saying just a minute ago, did we get everything right? And if we didn't get everything right, we have time to rectify it. We talk about the Treasury rules and who can have hazard pay and all of that, and I've talked to you about it. If certain departments or groups don't fit into that Treasury rule, then we as a board need to figure out how can we compensate the ones that maybe don't fit into that category. Do we just want to do it ourselves to show that we appreciate what you've done? You were here through the COVID. And I think the second thing that maybe we might have been amiss at, and I've said this before, when you involve department heads, it becomes so discretionary. And so it's so variable of how those decisions are made. And so I know you guys did the best you could to make this happen, but it's worth a relook. That's all I have to say on that.
Understood. Thank you, Commissioner. Moving on specifically to my buy leave items, I do have several today. The first is in your packet is buy leave number 1. This is a resolution approving the tentative collective bargaining agreement between the Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners and the communications officers of Hamilton County, representing communications officers in the Department of Telecommunications. This is State Employee Relations Board case 2021 MED 091129. The administration recommends approval.
Any questions or comments on buy leave 1? Hearing none, I make a motion to adopt buy leave 1.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Second buy leave item I have is BL2, buy leave 2 in your packet. This is a report on every year, according to the Ohio Revised Code, the prosecutor has to report out on the spending of delinquent tax anticipation collection funds for that department. This is a report that provides the spending on that across both personnel and non-personnel line items. The administration recommends receiving this report for the record.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Make a motion to adopt by leave two?
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. And I will defer, Madam President, to you on this matter. I've got by leave 3 and by leave 5, which both relate to the budget. By leave 3 is the capital improvement plan. By leave 5 is the operating budget and the all funds budget for the county for 2022. But in between there, we have by leave number 4, which relates to the solid waste district rules. I'll defer to you as to, I'd prefer to do the budget items together. So if you wanted to proceed with, I'll defer to you in terms of how to proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to have the budget items together also, so we can move to by leave 4. Would you like for me to have the comments first? Okay. Marilyn Wall? Yeah.
She's on MSD.
Well, I thought you said you wanted to speak as we talk about solid waste. Okay. That's why I called you up earlier. Okay. So why don't you come on up then? So. Oh, it's on, okay, on the regular, okay. Mary Kosher? Okay, we'll come back to her. Sally Danamiller? She filled her meter too, or, okay.
Good afternoon, Sally
Good afternoon.
Danamiller here. I'm representing.
Could you
Sierra Club.
please push your mic down? Yeah.
I'm representing Sierra Club Miami Group. We did submit a letter to the board yesterday. We support the adoption of solid waste rules for the Hamilton County Solid Waste District. The passage of these rules will better protect human health and the environment, as well as involve people on the local level. Very important. In our district, Hamilton County is rated number 4 for landfill acceptance rate in the country. We also have one of the largest landfills in our district in this county. These rules should be passed today. Many local nonprofit groups, municipalities, and citizens have been involved, both at the rules subcommittee level and at the policy committee level. These citizens have helped in the creation of the rules, listening to all the conversation, studying the process. Many of these people are just really learning about solid waste, and it's a very large environmental and human health issue. So we ask you to please adopt these rules today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Tim Mara.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Tim Mara. I'm here in my capacity as a member of the Board of Directors of Oxbow, Inc. Before proceeding, I would like to say that we are disappointed that there were last-minute deletions in the rules that are now appear before you pertaining to socioeconomic justice and to the environment. Nonetheless, we support adoption of the rules today
I'm sorry.
because we believe this is an important step forward. I have to tell you, I congratulate you for picking up on this issue because the state law has enabled you to adopt rules regarding solid waste facilities for decades, and your predecessors never took advantage of that opportunity to provide additional protection for the people of Hamilton County or the environment. So this is really an important step forward. So we urge you to adopt the rules today. I appreciate all of you, every one of you on that subject. But I especially want to thank Commissioner Dreehouse for the leadership she's exercised on this particular issue. As your representative to the policy committee, she spent a lot of time on this issue, and we appreciate that. And the board, all three of you, we hope you will in fact go forward with the approval of these rules. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Marie Kushner, did she come back? No? Oh. Okay, Carrie Davis.
Hey, y'all. Ms. Dumas, you tell me, stop saying thank you. You're wasting your time. But what you guys have done in bringing this forward so quickly, I have to say thank you. Ms. Reese, that day you said, go back to that slide, go back to, I have told that story 100 times because you lit a fire under this issue. and showed how important it was and how common sense it was to adopt these rules. Ms. Dumas, your diversity efforts, getting more people into the committee, the openness in which both of you, I don't know, I'm sure Ms. Driehaus was involved also, but getting public comments, which were not being permitted until you all spoke up. You know, so I have to say thank you. And Ms. Driehaus, there is absolutely no doubt if anybody else was on this committee chairing it, we would not be here. It takes strength and courage that I've seen you women, I'm so proud of, that serving us, that you grab onto these difficult issues and you tackle them like I've never seen. And it's just incredible. But the main reason, so thank you, Ms. Driehaus. We would not be here without every one of you contributing to getting us to this vote today. And please pass the rules. But I do want to assure you one thing, since the solid waste rules does not require public hearings. So I sent you all a little document to show you that we actually far exceeded what would occur at public hearings. We have documented 33,000 people have read articles on this in Hamilton County. We have documented that there are 7 different nonprofits who have written you formal letters supporting this topic. We have, since December 6th, we went out to various jurisdictions and gave presentations, 6 jurisdictions, and this is so important. The most conservative community in Hamilton County, the city of Harrison, unanimously passed a motion to support you all in adopting these rules immediately, as well as 5 others. Is my time up?
Yes, ma'am.
But we have exceeded what would ever happen in a public hearing. Over 500 people have been presented and been given an opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much.
So much, ladies.
Yes, and any correspondence that comes in via our email or the regular post office is submitted to our clerk to put on the record. Okay, Lisa Nguyen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lisa Nguyen. I live in Harrison, Ohio, and I am a member of Ditch the Dump Group. It's a group of everyday people who came together on their own to protect their community. Our group has 1,649 members on our Facebook page and many others that are not on Facebook. I have here, speaking of senior citizens, I have 80 signatures. Many from the senior citizens community next, right adjacent to a proposed landfill site. We had responses from 1,262 people regarding their thoughts on the proposed landfill site. 32% expressed concerns about residential issues. 25% expressed concerns about environmental health. 16% expressed concerns about odor. Many of these are concerns that the Ohio EPA cannot address. These responses include individuals from the city of Cincinnati, Green Township, Delhi, Harrison, Cleves, Addiston, North Bend, and even Miami Township. We have received favorable responses when speaking at council meetings from North Bend, Cleves, Harrison, Harrison Township, and Whitewater Townships. And recently, as recent as last night, we were asked to speak at a council meeting for Hyde Park, Oakley, and East Walnut Hills. Part of our feedback from the people in our area has been that they felt that they had felt the size of the opposition and their resources provided us little recourse in this matter. Please listen and prove them wrong. These rules will give us a voice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And you can submit that to our clerk if you'd like. We'll put it have it for record. You make copies and everything. Did you make copies? Okay, so we'll make sure we get you copies. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bill Rumpke.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Bill Rumpke III, Regional Vice President for Rumpke Waste and Recycling. I appreciate the opportunity to address the board here to briefly discuss our concerns for the solid waste rules currently before the commission for a vote. As myself and Rumpke has previously stated at the solid waste policy meetings, Rumpke is not opposed to reasonable, workable regulations that are within the scope of the law. The rules currently before the Board of Commissioners are not only prevent Rumpke and other solid waste operators within the county from being able to plan for the future waste disposal needs of the region, but they also prevent our operations today from being able to stay in environmental compliance. For example, after a heavy rainfall, like is expected this week, leachate management is crucial. Extra measures must be executed immediately, requiring rapid modifications to our surface water plan. Under the current proposed rules, we would first have to obtain permission from the county commissioners to act, making for a slower response and potential environmental risk. In addition to preventing our team of experts from being able to remain in environmental compliance, the rules as presented would require Rumpke to go through an expensive and now even more arduous process, converting nearly every Board of Commissioners member into an emotionally and politically charged zoning hearing regarding a Rumpke location. For example, because a large portion of Rumpke's fleet is based at the Colerain Township landfill, that trucking operation would be subject to the proposed rules. Under the new rules, if we wanted to increase the number of compressed natural gas filling stations to operate more CNG trucks and reduce emissions, which is a good thing, county approval would be required. Upgrading a garage or moving a fuel tank on site to improve efficiency would also demand commissioner approval. The extra step is not a best use of the commission's time or resources and will dramatically impact the timelines and budgets of these projects, as well as our ability to continue providing the essential services to the 2 million people and tens of thousands of businesses who rely on these services. The proposed regulations fail to encompass the short-term and long-term impacts of the proposed mandates on Hamilton County's infrastructure and the ability to provide timely solution for the waste we all generate. These rules are limiting an essential service that is extremely integral to the region's public health and economic growth. The solid waste industry is already one of the most heavily regulated industries in the country and in Ohio. These rules would require an exhaustive review and processing by county staff and/or third-party consultants that would come at a great cost to the county.
Thank you. Are you right at
Almost
the end?
done.
Okay.
Like 10 seconds.
Okay.
I urge the county to examine every potential outcome, risk, and cost associated with the proposed rules and consider both the minor and major impacts the rules will have on the county's budget, environmental compliance, public health, and local disposal options, as well as the cost to the residents and the businesses. Thank you. I
Thank
do have
you.
copies.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, Michael Miller. Thank you. Mhm.
I'm a water expert, and I'm speaking in favor of the rules to protect our environment. In particular, what I've shown you here is the effluent from the Banklip Creek, the current Struble landfill, showing that the water quality is not in compliance with the Clean Water Act coming off of that for conductivity this year. I've circled them. It's on the far right of one of the graphs in red. It's incredibly high, higher than any other stream in Hamilton County. And the E. coli came off in March and November in extraordinary high numbers that put that in arrears. The site is impaired in our water quality monitoring outreach. I'm a level 3 chemist with the state of Ohio EPA. I run a water quality monitoring group on the lower Great Miami. We have been monitoring Sand Run and Fox Run sites above and below on the Whitewater River and on the Great Miami River for 10 years. We have more pre-data there than you could possibly hope for. And we want to protect those waters. Those waters are the cleanest waters in the state of Ohio, particularly in the southwest corner of the state. And they're in jeopardy with the aggravated 30, 40, 50-year effluent that's going to seep out of a proposed landfill. So I want to see these rules adopted so that we can have public discussion about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have our last speaker, Marie Kushner.
Thank you,
Kushner.
President Dumas.
Mhm.
My name is Marie Kukosius, and I'm representing the League of Women Voters of the Cincinnati area. The League strongly supports the rules governing the maintenance, protection, and use of the solid waste facilities in Hamilton County. These rules were proposed 11/15/21.
Can you please put your microphone, either.
Yeah, by the Policy Committee.
Mhm.
These rules would provide ample and effective opportunities for public participation for solid waste siting in Hamilton County. Citizens could access permit information in Hamilton County and interact with permitting authority. These rules are straightforward and fair to the public and the solid waste companies. Hamilton County has been late in adopting these rules. There are 22 other districts in Ohio that have their own rules. These rules allow for consideration of many factors that impact the daily lives of nearby neighbors, such as odor, litter, truck traffic, and noise. These affect their quality of life in a negative way and are not part of OEPA's citing process. Please continue to represent the public and vote to implement these rules today. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have 3 people that are on Zoom that would like to speak on this subject.
Molly Hunter.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and I apologize for not being able to be there in person today. I live in Hamilton County, of course. I live in Delhi Township. I just want to offer my strong support for the proposed rules and urge all 3 of you to vote in favor, please, and thereby adopt these rules. Many solid waste management districts in Ohio, as the last speaker said, have such rules, and my understanding is they have worked well in those districts. These proposed rules before you have gone through a thorough process of development, drafting, and modifications to the drafts. They were recommended to the Policy Committee by the Rules Subcommittee and adopted by the Policy Committee, which now recommends them for adoption by this board. I think that it's essential that the rules call for public notice and the opportunity for written comments and public hearing. That, to my mind, is a very important part of the rules. So I just urge you to vote yes to adopt the rules. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chuck Hagan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I love hearing from the SOAC for the seniors. I think this is actually relatable here in this call to act to pass the rules for Rumpke's or for rules for dumps. There's a community right next door to where Rumpke's looking to expand. Riverview Crossings has many seniors that are living there, and these are just like you spoke of. These members of that community are able to stay in their homes. They've got a very nice community there that they're able to stay in before they may need to go into any assisted living. It's a great community. They will be directly impacted by this growth of Rumpke facility there on Sand Run. So just want to mention some of the environmental impacts that I see. Looking at Google Maps, looking at the landscape of what's there in Coleraine, if you overlay that to where they're looking to do this in the western side of Hamilton County, that's about 2,000 feet away from the Whitewater River that feeds directly into the Great Miami River, which feeds directly into the Ohio River. Major concerns from my part on what effects that's going to have to the wildlife that's thriving around. I spend a lot of time on the Ohio River and around our parks and Campbell Lakes and Oxbow. I've seen bald eagles, peregrine falcons, all kinds of birds of flight that you haven't seen before. You know, they're coming back to this community, and I can't imagine that a dump like this is going to have a positive impact on that. Community impact, the proposed location, or where they're starting to build now already, 6,000 feet to an elementary school that's over in Indiana. You know, there's these communities of Cleves, Hooven, North Bend, Riverview Crossings that I mentioned. Over in Indiana, there's Hidden Valley, Sugar Ridge, and a new development, Madison Ridge, I think it's called. You know, places where people are investing in this area, and you know, the community impact and the financial impact to the community is huge. And I think that's going to have an effect on your budget as well. You know, less house values, less, you know, less tax dollars that can feed. So I think there's a big impact there. And a quick comment to Bill Rumpke, or to his comments. You know, Rumpke is an enormous corporation. Big corporations around the globe have to work under rules and regulations. And those rules and regulations change all the time. And yes, we have to adapt. We have to adapt to these things in all kinds of industries in our lives. This doesn't, you know, Rumpke is not immune to those sorts of changes. So I just appreciate the time here. And I asked a call for passing the rules and regulations for dumps, following the voice of our other community in Hamilton County, Cleves, who passed this as well, or advises to pass it as well. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Hagan.
Next would be Gary Hammerly.
Hi, thank you all, Board of Commissioners. This is honestly my first meeting with you guys. You guys all sound like a great group of people that really care about the communities. It sounds like especially the elderly. And this is no different here. If we do not adopt these rules and regulations, it is looking at the people of Riverview Crossings as well as the people across the border in Indiana, and saying to them that you do not matter. Me personally, I think everyone matters, especially our elderly. It's how important it is to take care of them. And it's questionable how it's going to affect them in their health with the noxious gases that it releases. I grew up in Westwood, lived there for 25 years of my life. I have a lot of strong ties to the West Side. I ask you to adopt these rules and regulations to limit the amount of waste that can go in certain areas, as well as our communities. The West Side is becoming a dumping ground for trash. It's obvious with the expansion of Rumpke and Coleraine. You look at that. So back in 1984, you could pull up satellite imagery and look at it. It's about the same size. It was a little bigger than what it is. Bond Road landfill is now currently, but in a matter of 26 years, it's grown exponentially. That's what we're looking at here if we do not adopt these rules and regulations. I strongly encourage you to vote and pass them today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to also mention that Albin Bauer, our special counsel, is on the line. And so I will introduce the issue and then kick it over to Albin, if that's okay. So in front of us by leave 4 is a resolution adopting rules for the Hamilton County Solid Waste District. There is this cover resolution, and the rules are then attached. You have all been sent a copy of these final rules in your inboxes or your emails. So let me just walk through this very quickly. So the top page talks about the intent, what we're trying to accomplish here. And in essence, what it says is that, you know, we are trying to construct rules that are not dealt with elsewhere through Ohio EPA when it comes to governing solid waste facilities in Hamilton County. EPA is not permitted to consider things like noise, traffic, odors, and the impact to property values. And so we don't have any rules on the books that apply to some of the concerns that are brought forward to us by the citizens. And so to that point, I mean, when I think about it, why we're here and how we got here, really this was citizen driven. Citizens came to this board, asked us, or rather talked about the concerns they had related to the Bond Road site, but really the concerns are beyond that. Their concerns are about the lack of rules in Hamilton County related to solid waste facilities. And so we acknowledged that we had no rules for this specific purpose, and also acknowledged that, as was mentioned earlier, over 20 boards of county commissioners throughout the state have adopted rules. So it is not uncommon for a county commission to have rules. So we started down the road on a process. I am, as has been mentioned, the chair of the Solid Waste Policy Committee. And so it went to that committee. So we were seeking advice and some recommendations from that committee. The policy committee then set up a subcommittee to look at the issue. In turn has made recommendations to the board. And so as you can tell, that's been happening over the last few months. So in the midst of that process, the prosecutor was present at all of those meetings with his representative, but also advised this board to get outside counsel because they lack the necessary expertise in this area. And so in that vein, we hired Albin Bauer, who again is on the line, and followed the advice of the prosecutor related to that. So the rules have been recommended by the policy committee and fully reviewed by the experts, special legal counsel, and adjusted as appropriate. They're reasonable and they're defensible. Reasonable in that I just want to point out that if you go through the rules, the document itself, it talks about some of the things that are required through this process of the solid waste facility operator. Things like the type of solid waste facility that is contemplated, a site map, a survey, the size and capacity of the facility, landscaping, lighting, traffic and transportation plan, hours of operation. As you can see, many of these things directly impact the quality of life of the people that live in these communities, and that's why they are included in the rules. It also talks about avoiding and mitigating adverse impacts on the local community. And if you turn to that part of the report or the rules, it talks to the extent practicable that we can make sure that these adverse impacts are mitigated or avoided. And so that's really what we're seeking to do. And those, again, are things like the impacts to recreational activities nearby, the impacts to local political subdivisions, impact to quality of life issues like noise, litter, odors, lighting, those kinds of things that are part and parcel of
Yeah, so Commissioner, I'm talking, but the screen indicates that there is no sound coming from the meeting. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Now, the sound was out there for a couple minutes, so are we all set, commissioners? Okay. So, I mean, I didn't hear the intro, but what I wanted to address briefly are the updates that were made to the rules since the staff meeting on the 7th. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, wonderful. So first thing I'd like to mention is that people, the public and everyone who's interested should keep in mind that the purpose of these rules is not to create a review process that will kind of override or look at the same issues that Ohio EPA looks at, or maybe that some other agencies would look at, like the Water and Sewer District or some other public entities such as that. But what the rules are intended to do is to focus a review on local county level interests that are not required to be addressed and typically are never addressed, particularly at the Ohio EPA level of review. So in that regard, I thought the commenter from the League of Women Voters had it just about right, that these issues that we're talking about, and Commissioner Driehaus as well, when she talked about noise, odor, litter, local economic impacts and so on, that's what the focus is. So with that in mind, I will briefly go over the revisions that were made to the updated document that is pending in front of you. On pages 1 and 2, the definitions of aquifer, endangered species, and groundwater were removed, and the provisions on aquifers, groundwater, and endangered species that were part of the compliance report on page 9 were similarly taken out because those issues are addressed by EPA's review and under regulations applicable by federal law. We did not remove surface water impacts under the definitions or in the local, in the compliance report because there could be local county level interests based on hunting, fishing, and recreational activities. On page 2, the definition of landfill was revised to clarify what's included within the landfill, in particular to clarify that it includes areas within the property lines of land owned or leased for the landfill facility. On page 2, the definition of modification was narrowed. The modifications subject to review are those which increase capacity of the facility or increase the maximum amount of daily waste receipts for the facility, or operational changes that will the definition was changed so that operational changes that are subject to review are those which may have a material adverse impact on the local county level interests that are identified in the rule. And this change was made to narrow the applicability of the rule and to reduce the frequency of reviews and the cost associated with that. On page 4, the site plan map provision was changed to reduce the area covered by the site plan from within 2,500 feet of the proposed facility to 1,000 feet in order to maintain consistency with Ohio EPA rules. Also on page 4, the requirement for a survey of all uses within 2,500 feet of the proposed facility was eliminated as not necessary for the local review process. The next part is, I think, are the most important changes that were made. Major revisions were made to the second criteria for approval or disapproval on pages 7 and 8 under section 5A as in apple 2. The changes remove the reference to adverse socioeconomic impacts, adverse environmental impacts, and adverse impacts on health and safety of the local community due to concerns about consistency with EPA's review and perhaps overgenerality. And that was replaced by material adverse impacts on the local community in Hamilton County with respect to any of the following county level interests. And then there are listed 9 local county level interests that will be considered by the board. Local economic impacts, impacts on local health department resources and responsibilities, impacts on local law enforcement and emergency response agencies, impacts on local infrastructure, impacts on local quality of life issues, which are then kind of parenthetically listed by way of example, impacts on local political subdivisions, impacts on nearby historical cultural features, impacts on nearby hunting, fishing, and recreational activities, and compatibility with local land use standards. The inclusion of materiality means that trivial impacts will not stand in the way of projects, but the level of impacts need to be significant or rise to a sufficient level of importance to allow for disapproval. Similar changes were incorporated into section 5B on page 8 in order to make sure the rule consistently throughout refers to and is construed with respect to local county level interests. On page 9, section 5C, as in Charlie 2, which specifies that what the applicant has to include in the compliance report was changed to clarify that the report should address local county level interests, which is a reference to the same 9 items that are listed under the approval criteria, the second approval criteria. The following items were removed from the compliance report on pages 9 and 10. Aquifer, the depth to the water table, endangered species, consumption of potable water, and socioeconomic impacts, either because of generality or of questionable relevance, or concerns about consistency with Ohio EPA regulations. Finally, on page 10, section 6 was removed. That section required all solid waste facilities to submit copies of their permit application to Ohio EPA to the district, not just for new projects, but for existing facilities as well. This information, those applications are public record and can be obtained by the district at any time if it's needed. And it's unlikely that the district would need or get any benefit from getting an entire permit application. A lot of the time, these applications to Ohio EPA are extremely voluminous. And so that should be addressed on a case-by-case basis as to the specific portions that are needed. So those were the changes. They were done to bring the rule in, to narrow it to in the interest of balancing the resources and the time of the board to conduct these reviews, to in the interest also of making sure that funds are not spent on unnecessary reviews of projects that probably or may not affect the local county level interests, and also to address and make sure that the rule is as defensible as can be in light of the sparse case law that exists on these rules, and in view of what the body of rules that are out there among other Ohio solid waste districts, that we have a rule that is not out of the mainstream, but actually is squarely in the mainstream of the rules that are out there in the state currently. So that brings you up to speed with where what the rule is currently, how it was adjusted from as it existed on December 7th. I can answer any questions that you might have, but that's the report for the rule as you have it currently.
Thank you. Mr. Bauer for giving us the update related to the rules in front of us. And so I just simply, I don't know if there are questions for our attorney, but I just want to thank him for putting a great deal of time into getting these rules into a place where I think they do strike the balance of being reasonable, defensible, and yet still protect the community from negative or adverse impacts related to a potential solid waste facility going into a community being expanded or, whatever else. I do think we need to strike a balance here, and I think these rules do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Reese, any comments or questions? Comments or questions as it relates to any of the presentations or comments that have been made previously?
Thank you. I do have actually tons of questions. But I want to start on this component. I think the speaker, one of the speakers that mentioned, that this should have been done a long time ago. I'm the newest member of this commission. Haven't been here a year. I'll be here in a year in January. Here at the county, there's a lot of moving parts, and this is my first budget. Spent a lot of my time on the tax rebate discussion to get to the 30%. That takes a lot of time. We didn't have a large window to look into it, research it. I think we had maybe a week and a half. Now we have a budget, which is last on the buy leave agenda. And many people had to leave. And that's $1 billion budget. And we got 7 restricted funds and got to learn all that. And then this came up, which I probably have to defer to those who were here before me. I wasn't here, but I haven't had the opportunity to really delve into this the way I really like to delve into issues. I like to know how it works, why we didn't do it before, where do we go from here? And so I know that we had voted to appoint special counsel, Albin, who's just made a presentation. But I was a little confused our last time that we talked, because he came on and he's contracted with the elected prosecutor. So the prosecutor position is elected to be our counsel. Because I had asked that question when I first got here, because we had some other things. And I said, well, why does everything go to the prosecutor's office? And the administrator said it goes there because state law says that they are our council. They are elected by the people, and that's the council, and that's the way it goes. So outside counsel had to be signed off by the prosecutor's office to be paid. And so when he got on and gave his presentation, Albin, because I'm not an attorney, and this is a little rushed from how we usually do business. It's not rushed with you all, but it's rushed with me because I just got here. And I've seen contracts take 3 years to get done. That's only $300,000. So I figured the two of them would at least, I guess, talk. And then when I got here, Alvin said one thing and it sounded good. But then the prosecutor who would have to defend us, who signed the contract to hire this person, the two of them, I guess, didn't talk, because the prosecutor said they haven't had enough time to review it because they would have to be the ones to defend it, and that it could cost a lot of money. And then I'm listening to Albin. He said he made some changes, and I'll be honest, something this big, you can't just hurry up and give me some changes. I'm not a lawyer. And so the prosecutor had asked, can they get more time? That kind of made sense to me. But then I was told we can't do more time because the goal is to stop, I guess, Rumpke. Then I was told, well, if that's the goal, we probably will get sued, and everybody agreeing that we get sued. I've never had conversations where we just go in saying, we're going to be sued. And I need to know how much that's going to cost, because I'm not, nothing against lawyers, but my goal is not for lawyers to get paid and the community to get played. I've seen cases where we've had outside, even in this commission, we had a rush deal on something else, a Millennium Hotel, We lost that. And then they came back to the commission and said, can you pay our legal fees? It was $600,000 from the taxpayers. It might be another 5 million we got to pay. So I'm not trying to rush into something knowing I'm gonna get sued without knowing solid. They say it is defensible, but I got one lawyer, the prosecutor, saying we don't know if it's defensible. Then I got another lawyer that out here said I did my job. I wrote these rules, and I'm sure he probably did a good job. I have no way of knowing if he did a good job or not, because I don't have anybody to talk to about it, nor have I had time. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I haven't had time. I've been on the budget, $1 billion. I've been on 30% tax rebate. This is nothing to Commissioner Dreehouse. She's been around longer, so she's had time to work on it. Commissioner Dumas has been here longer, so maybe they had time to work on it. Me personally, I would have said, hey, we've had commissions of both parties. Maybe it could have got done before now, but I'm asked to rush, and I just haven't had the time really to review it. I hate that we have to do it to, I guess, stop someone that's might expand. I have a good track record on environmental issues, been on the fight for years in Winton Terrace. So that's not the issue. But my issue with this is, one, is it going to be additional staffing? Can the current staff do it? Is it going to be more budget? When we talk about we going to get sued, who's going to defend us? How much money is that going to cost the taxpayers? If I go back with the attorney that's on here, Mr. Albin, how much is that costing us? I have no clue. And so I'm probably at a different disadvantage to move forward. I also heard the word sparse as it relates to case law. That means not too many places have gone the distance. My question is this the cookie cutter of the ones that have won in other counties, or is this a new model that we're putting together that hasn't been tested? Those are the questions that certainly I have, and I don't have time to get into it. I'd love to get into it. January, I got more time after I get done with this budget, but unfortunately I'm told that we've got to move today. So with that, it's nothing on Commissioner Dreehouse has done a great job and in a tough position. But for me, I can't, if someone told me as a business owner, if I wasn't the county commissioner, it was my own money, and someone came to me and presented me something, my lawyer presented me something, I want you to do this, but I'm telling you now, you're gonna get sued. There's a cost to it. Now if it's my own money, I'm like, hold on. I don't have a whole bunch of billable hours to give. So I have to think that way too with the public money. And I'm also concerned about Whitewater Township. You know, people say we got there, why wouldn't they put in zoning? We wouldn't even be here. Why didn't they put in zoning? I also have gotten some people say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, but they got contracts with Rumpke. Nobody is saying end our contracts with Rumpke. So those are some things I want to wrap my head around. And I'm not an attorney, so you can't give me something on Tuesday and expect me to understand it right away. But I do think it's kind of strange. And maybe that's how they do it here. I don't know. This is new for me, that we have a lawyer paid for by the taxpayers who maybe hasn't talked to the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor comes to tell us, I haven't seen it and we need more time, but they have to defend it. And that makes me just a little uncomfortable. So I've been going back and forth. I know Ms. Carey's you've been working, or she's gone, but she's working on this full time as her main issue. But I, to be honest with you, I've been working on some other issues and I haven't had time to just put all my time into this. So with that, I'm not prepared today to move forward at this time. It doesn't mean that down the road I won't be moving forward, but I can't move forward at this time. I know that I understand that my two colleagues probably will be moving forward, and I look forward to learning more. But for me, I'm uncomfortable because there's too many questions, even in my own mind, that I haven't been able to completely have answers for. So.
Madam President, may I just
Yes.
clarify just on a couple of points? The first one related to timing. So when we had our policy committee, and I think I have shared this with the board, there was testimony from Rumpke because we knew it was going to take a minute for us to get these rules into place, and it did. And so we asked Rumpke whether or not they anticipated having anything move forward prior to the beginning of the year. And they said that they did not expect to issue any permits for anything, any expansion or anything like that before the beginning of the year. But we don't know what the timing is. So if we were to wait for, say, 3 months, we don't know what the plans are. And if the rules are not in place, they do not apply. And so I think that is the reason that the community has come to us and said, be thoughtful about the rules, but there is a clock ticking on these rules. And that is the reason for the timing being getting this done by the end of the year. The other thing related to Albin and special counsel, it is true that the prosecutor recommended that we hire special counsel because they do not have the expertise to deal with this matter and this solid waste matter. And so that's what we did on the advice of the prosecutor's office, and special counsel, who has the expertise, has recommended that we pass these rules. And he has drawn up the rules and he has a great deal of experience, decades of experience in the state related to court cases and what stands up in court and what does not. And that's why his expertise related to the rule, drawing up the rules, was so important. And then lastly, and Alvin, I don't mean to speak for you, but one last thing related to the money going to special counsel. The special counsel is being paid through the solid waste fees. And so it is a little different than drawing those dollars out of the general fund. So I do want to make that distinction because solid waste fees are related to solid waste and any rules that we would put into place related to solid waste facilities. So Albin, I don't know, and I don't mean to interrupt, but if there were questions there that can be answered by Albin, I just want to make sure he has the opportunity to do that.
I just had a question for you, for clarity. I got what you're saying about the timing of these rules, and there's other counties that have rules. So my question is, because I just got here, why didn't we have rules before now? I mean, is it just because of Rumpke? Because other people don't have a Rumpke and they had rules. So
because the citizens brought it to us now.
They didn't want it in first.
Well, I've been here for 5 years and I have not had any citizens come to us and say, hey, we need to create rules for solid waste facilities throughout the county. It is now an issue for the citizens. They brought it. I mean, this is not something that I particularly had a lot of knowledge about, but they brought it to our attention. And so from my vantage point, we're here to serve the citizens and respond to the concerns of the citizens. And so to my mind, that is exactly what we're doing here with this resolution.
No, I'm fine. I'm for all the citizens. But one citizen had gotten up saying that they tried for years in one of the testimonies. So that's why I was trying to
I think
figure
it
out.
was
Maybe I
Tamara.
misunderstood.
Yeah, I think what he said was that we haven't had any rules. They could have put in rules.
Yeah. that's what I'm
But
saying.
the Board of Commission, either it wasn't on their radar or they chose not to. And from my experience, my 5 years, it simply has not been on the radar.
Okay.
As you say, we're busy with a lot of other stuff. So
And still.
Okay,
Then can he answer that question though about what she said?
the pay.
Not the pay, because we have a fund and when that fund is out, things do go to the general fund. But I wanted him to answer that question about, he was hired to write these rules by the prosecutor. And then we were shocked. The prosecutor person got up and said, and maybe Michael's here from the prosecutor's office, and said that they needed more time to review it in order to defend us. Had he conversated with them before or something? I'm just confused because I don't know what the process is. That really
Alvin-
confused me. I'll be
yeah,
honest.
so Albin can answer the question. I do want to note that the prosecutor's office was at every single meeting. And so they did not weigh in during any of those meetings related to any concerns about what we were discussing at those meetings. And they were present outside special counsel. But Albin, go ahead.
Right. And so, I mean, and as part of this project, and remember, I came on into this on the 16th or 17th of November. So not very long ago, but throughout that process, I have been in communicate. I've had several conversations with the assistant prosecutor who works on the civil side on these issues. And every draft that has been put forward that I have touched in terms of revisions at the subcommittee level, at the policy committee level, then again at the following the staff meeting, where has been provided to the assistant county prosecutor. And then following the staff meeting, there was the prosecutor and myself, the assistant prosecutor and myself, we had a discussion about the issues that were brought up at the staff meeting in terms of going through then and looking at the rule again and examining it for any potential areas of concern, either in terms of litigation or expense control and things of that nature. And that was done, and a copy of that draft was provided to the prosecutor's office as well. So as best as I'm able to do, I have endeavored to keep the prosecutor's office fully involved and fully informed on this. Now, if the question is, so has there been a conversation and say, okay, can we come together and provide a combined, unified view or position on the rules? That conversation hasn't happened, and frankly, to a large extent, at least by my way of thinking, and through the conversations, it was kind of left at, well, you're the specialist who's been brought in to address this, and so you make the changes that you think ought to be made, and we'll go through the process that way. So that's a description of the process, and frankly, commissioners, that's how it goes normally in the work that I do for counties all over the state. I'll answer one of the questions that just came up in terms of why so many other counties may have this. In reality, one of the motivating factors is many counties, there are less now than there used to be 25 years ago, but many counties had county-owned and operated landfills. And so a lot of them were motivated to adopt this kind of rule in order to manage whether other entities might come into their area and take away waste volumes that the county landfill needs in order to make sure that they can pay the bills. And so that would explain probably at least half of the counties that had the rule for a long time. A lot of the other counties that have developed it are doing it for basically similar kinds of local concerns, which has caused Hamilton County to look at the issue now. But in the counties that I work with, if you look at the statute that allows solid waste districts, the boards of commissioners of single county solid waste districts to bring in outside counsel, it allows for that to be done in a way where the county is going to simply rely upon that outside counsel to advise the board and the solid waste district on solid waste issues. And that's normally how it's done. I don't mind. I have no objection to the idea of cooperating and coordinating with the prosecutor's office. That's a positive thing. But the statute does allow the solid waste district to, and the board, the governing board, which is the commissioners of the solid waste district, to simply rely on outside counsel. So I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just a bit of additional context on the question on why no rules before now, and I can't speak precisely to specific initiatives or anything like that. But what I can say is that in speaking as the individual who served as solid waste manager for the county from 1999 through 2006, there is a solid waste planning process that occurs every 5 years. So the county will draft a solid waste plan, and included in that solid waste plan can be the adoption of rules. The solid waste policy committees in the past, and presumably the policy direction board of past boards of county commissioners has been not to adopt rules. Speaking from my own experience, those plans that you then, once you adopt a plan, you have to go out and sell it to the community, and you need a certain percentage of of all of the political subdivisions in the county to sign off on that plan to ensure plan ratification. And I can't say precisely the numbers, but in my time at the district and through Ms. Christman, who was there, and now Ms. Baltz, those plans were typically approved at anywhere from 90 to 100% rates of the communities within Hamilton County. So there was no expressed specific pressing for rules in the solid waste planning process. That pressure really started earlier on this year. So I would just say that's why there wasn't rules before, but situations change, certainly.
Thank you. I have a few comments. We were given the direction by the prosecutor that he did not have expertise in this area. We followed up and we got someone who had the expertise in that area. We followed the direction of the prosecutor. And I'm just really puzzled on how the prosecutor is saying the expert developed these rules. Now you have to give them back to me that I'm not an expert in. It makes no sense to me. So I think we don't want to sit and delay and permits come in. As was said earlier, we don't know when permits are coming in. I want to clarify too, the reason why we brought this subject first, rather than the budget, is because the amount of comments that came, I know to me, I don't know what other colleagues got, but it was overwhelming as far as this issue. And I can remember with our $1.1 billion all funds budget, we had 3 hearings, and I think I can count on one hand how many people said something about it. So I thought it was just imperative as the leader of this group to make sure all of those that are chattering out there as it relates to this issue, because it was so many people, that we deal with this issue first. We certainly will get back with our budget. And I don't know if you remember, as we discussed our budget, I was saying I was really upset that more people didn't speak up as it relates to the budget, because it's so important. But as this issue goes, I think we need to move forward with it. We don't want to wait and put our power in someone else's hands, either Rumpke or any other facility that, can you kind of keep it down, please? Thank you. Or any other facility that may be interested in solid waste. I think we need to move forward on this. And I think this delay for us to wait is just a distraction. That's how I see it. And so we were basically threatened, and I'll say it, you'll be in peril if you don't wait. So I've been in peril before, but I need to do the right thing. And I think the right thing is to pass the rules.
Madam President, if I could, I was just advised, I think Assistant Prosecutor Friedman has a comment.
Sure.
So.
I just wanted to clarify 2 points that I think that. Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Just 2 quick points to Commissioner Reese's point, and I know there's some disagreement. I wasn't privy to the discussions in terms of recommendation, but this is a different mechanism for hiring outside counsel. This is directly through the Board of County Commissioners as the Board of Health, as opposed to where it would be joint with the prosecutor's office. So it is your right as a board to directly hire this outside counsel, and there isn't a built-in mechanism for the communication. However, my understanding is that Mr. Bauer has been communicating with Assistant Prosecutor Chin on this. I would say my understanding is that there have been several revisions that Mr. Bauer walked through. Again, I just would like to reiterate the point, and do not take this as a threat, I would say, but the prosecutor's position stands in that it is imperative that our office work with Mr. Bauer to examine all of these changes that have been made to determine the potential for exposure or liability for this board and the taxpayers before we can advise that they're appropriate to go forward with. And I fully respect Mr. Bauer's expertise on this, but I think he would be even willing to a collaborative process to determine what exactly the rules may mean for our particular county, given the factual differences between our county and those other counties that may have rules that are similar, but may not have a factual, scenario that is similar to ours. So I think the prosecutor's request is just that the board not act today on this and give our office the chance to review these rules and all the revisions that have been made to determine what the true exposure is for the board. So that is the position of that, and I'd share that, and you're certainly welcome to.
Thank you. And I would also ask, as the president of this board, that, yeah, we may be sued. Who knows? The county is always sued for something. But that the prosecutor's office realizes that they have the authority and responsibility to fight as hard for this as they would for anything else.
Absolutely. And,
Okay.
and to that point,
Uh-huh.
you know, that's one of the things, it's our duty to
Mhm.
represent that board.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's an obligation we take seriously and a duty we take seriously.
Thank you so much.
Madam-
Okay, why don't we,
Madam President, I just wanted to say that it doesn't mean down the road that I wouldn't support this, but I do myself need more time. I need to read this. I need to understand it. And I have not had a chance to do that. However, I'm not getting in the way of you all obviously moving forward, but I don't want to put out there as far as, oh, it's irresponsible. I mean, I think for me, I can only speak for the time I've been here. I like to be very thorough. I do take the word sued very big because individually, if it was our own money, we don't say, oh, we're just sued. We have lost a lot since from what I've seen. We have not been winners on a lot of court cases. And at the end of the day, the taxpayers do have to pay. I don't care if it's through a fee system or if it's through a general fund system, we have to pay. So when I do hear the word sued, it does make me just want to double check, triple check, and make sure that we limit our exposure. And I do want to thank Michael for the clarification, because it was confusing to me when we had that presentation. It was surprising and confusing that the two lawyers hadn't come together. And so and I guess the prosecutor would be the one defending us. So if we're saying they don't have this expertise, but then they got to go in the courtroom and defend us, that also alarms me a little bit. So hopefully they will get with Mr. Bauer so that we can be unified when we walk into a potential courtroom based on what we're told that we probably will be sued.
thank you. Can we call the question? Would you like to call the question, Commissioner Dreehouse?
I would like to call the question, and I just want to reiterate, we don't have the luxury of time. If we did, I think we would all be willing to delay, but we just don't have the luxury of time. And I think we're just trying to give a voice to the community through this rules making process. And I feel like it's important for us to do that. So can I just, Albin, is there anything to add? We're going to go ahead and take the vote. I hope you don't have anything else.
I do not, nothing else.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to move then that we approve of by leave number 4, the resolution adopting rules for the Hamilton County Solid Waste District.
Second,
Commissioner Dreehouse,
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas,
yes,
Commissioner Reese.
No.
thank you. Okay, we'll move forward. Thank you all for your comments and your efforts. So let's move forward. Jeff, you have some by leaves.
Thank you, Madam President. Getting reconfigured here. So I think we advanced by leave 4. And so we had left by leave 3 and 5. By leave 3 and 5 relate to the respectively the resolution number 38, which is the capital improvement plan for 2022, and resolution 39, the 1.14 billion appropriations related to the county all funds budget. So we've obviously, commissioners, been through multiple, and I'll take those items together. We've been through multiple public hearings on the county budget process. We started back over the summer in terms of receiving policy input from the board, hearing from stakeholders, numerous stakeholder sessions, having various public hearings, and then ultimately getting into a deliberation process here around the general fund and the all funds budget. So today I would like to recommend to the board the adoption of the $1.14 billion all funds budget, which includes 324.8 million as the general fund budget, and an additional 816.6 million
related to county restricted funds. So just a brief summary, commissioners, then I'll turn it back to you. The budget as presented to you today is balanced. It is a structurally balanced budget. The budget supports our mandated core services across the county, everything from public safety to social services. The budget aggressively supports, the all funds budget aggressively supports community relief programs in the wake of COVID-19 through our American Rescue Plan Act grant funds. It supports revitalization partnerships with our first ring suburban communities, addresses internal needs of our workforce, as well as building systems and capital needs. It supports services to our most vulnerable populations through enhanced children's services programming, programs for seniors, as well as those with mental health and developmental disabilities. It also facilitates completion of our highest priority capital projects, including work for a consolidated 911 EMA facility, the Black Music Walk of Fame and Lot 28 at the Banks, as well as the Finley Market Garage. And it does all of this and so much more in a way that keeps us fiscally solvent and structurally balanced. And also before you today, as I mentioned, is our capital improvement program, which was included in the original budget submittal. Again, the capital improvement program, commissioners, and again, that's included in your packet as resolution number 38, is simply that. It's a plan. There's $3 million of high priority capital projects included in the operating budget, but the capital improvement plan itself, any project, it is simply that. It is a plan. So any project that needs to, that would ultimately move forward out of that would need to come forward separately for board approval. So with that, I recommend to you resolutions number 38 and 39, or in reverse order, 39 and 38, the 1.14 billion all funds budget and the capital improvement plan for 2022. And the administration recommends approval. I just want to also thank the county leadership team, John Brugan, Holly Chrisman, all of the budget staff, the department heads, and everyone who had a role in putting this budget together, as well as always, commissioners, the board for your policy guidance, which obviously makes this a much more streamlined process. So, Madam President, I defer to you.
Thank you so much. We've had 3 public hearings, as I mentioned earlier. We've done as a board a thorough review. We've gotten input from agencies, businesses, residents. We've made changes to the budget. We've made comments. We've created initiatives. And so I think we've done a great job to pull this budget together and to be inclusive of all areas that need to be covered. So I will open it up for my colleagues to see if there are any comments or questions as it relates to the budget or for the capital improvement plan. Vice President Reese.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I do want to join in thanking the administration in this budget process. This is my first county budget, although I participated in the ARPA component. And there are some things that were different than maybe I had experienced in other budgets. I've been blessed to be a part of budgets that every budget has to be balanced. But this one I'm excited about because there are so many people that have been affected by the pandemic, which has forced us to do some things differently and go into some areas that maybe we had not gone before. I work a little unorthodox in that I jot down when I hear something from people. I don't ask them to have to be here at the meeting, but I try to take what they tell me or what they say and see if I can bring it back and see if those are things that could be some good ideas. I want to thank both of my colleagues, President Dumas and Commissioner Driehaus, because certainly, obviously, there's some things in here that I pushed for and they went with, and there's some things they pushed for, I went with. And I wanted to focus on some of those things because these are things that I heard, whether you were at the 513 relief bus, whether you were at the supermarket, whether you were at the high school, or whether you were at a senior event and you had mentioned some things. I said when I was elected with over 200,000 people, I said that I was going to come down and be transparent, open the process, shake it up, and do some things differently. And I think that I've been able to do some of those things. It's been tough sometimes, but we have come together as a board and pushed forward. So I'd like to highlight some of the things that I heard from people. Now, maybe they didn't make it to a meeting. Maybe they didn't have gas money or could take off work to be here at 1 o'clock or even in the evenings, but we tried. But we also looked at other things that came through the offices, things that came through emails, things we heard from people, and we tried to incorporate it in this structurally balanced budget. My focus was not to just have a structurally balanced budget for us, but to help you at home. And my comments today are directed to the people that are watching. My colleagues and administration get to see me every day and every week. But my focus and everything that I do is based on you. So I want to make the comments to the people that are watching and those who were able to come down. Some had to leave. This $1 billion budget is one that provides a safety net to help you balance your budget and hopefully help you bounce back at home. In this budget, we have done a lot with small businesses, but I thought it was important that we begin now to make small business part of our fabric of how we do business. So in this budget, I'm excited that we will have the first ever Hamilton County Office of Small Business. Small business is the growth and will become the backbone of any county that will bounce back and thrive. We have many women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran businesses. Many are starting businesses. This office will be tasked with putting together a plan and presenting to our board how do we become the #1 county for small business. Every business must have something. They can do a lot. They have to have something that they're known for. You go to McDonald's, it's the Golden Arches and it's the Big Mac. Now they sell chicken and fish, but the Big Mac is what they're known for. You go to Big Boy, it's the tartar sauce and the Big Boy. They got other items. We want to be known as the county for small businesses, where you come and we thrive, you grow, and you become the backbone of our county. In this plan, it looks for us, we put $11 million recently to small businesses. We're looking at to replace that $4 million grant because we saw that businesses still need help. Also with an economic development grant towards small business storefronts throughout our county. Many of our villages and cities and townships have storefronts that are empty. But we want to put some small businesses there so that they can employ people and continue to pay taxes here in Hamilton County. We also have earmarked a fund for ownership. We do a lot in this budget. We have money for Port Authority and other entities to buy land and to own land. We have a land bank. But what we have been missing is African Americans are losing ownership of buildings. And so we want to make sure that they can participate in this process as well. So we will have an inclusion fund targeted toward ownership in African American neighborhoods by folks who live there and look like them. We also have the 513 relief bus, which I'm very excited about. I want to thank my colleagues because I had just been here only 30 days and said, wait a minute, we got to do something different. Let's take the resources to the people instead of the people trying to find the resources. Now, it took a lot of hard work to get this moving. We piloted. We said we wanted to build a bus. We didn't get the bus built. We had to get a body double, but the body double got out there. We partnered with the health commissioner. We gave out lots of shots. And let me just say, we helped 3,954 households. JFS served 4,129 people. We went to over 75 locations, and I think I only missed 5 of them. We were able to deploy $86,694 for home assistance and $13.61 million for people with rental and utility assistance. Now, we've got more to do, but our workers did a fantastic job. We're going to continue that because we have allocated funds to construct our new bus, and it will be a new way that we take Hamilton County on the road, block by block, municipality by municipality, to make sure people have these resources that we have voted on. We will have the ample people to staff it. We will be able to have marketed, and people, 513 Relief Bus, just look for us coming to a neighborhood near you. In this budget, we also have $1 million. I kept saying we have a seniors levy, but I wanted to see if we could do a little bit more. And I want to thank my colleagues for agreeing with that. We will have a pilot program that we'd like to get going in the first quarter because people need help right now. The things that I focused on is now. People got bills now. People got a mortgage now. People got gas and electric now. So I'm focused on a right now program, considering that our budget is a yearly budget, unlike the budgets I've done in the past. So each year we get another shot at this. We'll have a $1 million fund that will help senior citizens with their utility or their property maintenance, something that I heard a lot of seniors say. SOAC, who had to leave, I thought about them when we said, listen, we need to outreach more to low income and diverse seniors. So we have now a $25,000 grant that will be hitting the streets quickly so we can help our seniors be better connected to the things we pass. Capital improvement. We're very excited about the Black Music Walk of Fame, Lot 28. Now we know costs have gone up, but we know that this project is very important. Why is it important? It's important to tourism. It's our only new tourism infrastructure project in the county. It's our only inclusion project on the banks, which is 198 acres, and this is only half an acre. It is the least expensive capital project that we've been involved in because we've built stadiums and we've built other things, and this is the least expensive, but it has the ability to help us worldwide. Right now, our stars are over at the Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport, and people are taking pictures and excited about it. It brings people to our riverfront. It already 2 family reunions have booked, looking forward to going to the Black Music Walk of Fame and have included it in their materials. We want to do it during the reopening of the Cincinnati Music Festival. Why? Because that festival must be successful. It's our largest festival of economic impact of any race in Hamilton County, $107 million of economic impact. So we've got everybody here, and we want to bring everyone here. And so we want to open this on July 23rd of 2022. We want it to be first class, world class, interactive, something that will bring the millennials and the senior citizens together on our riverfront. It's a very important project, and that's in the budget. I want to thank my colleagues for moving forward with that as well. Our youth, we hear a lot about our youth, but there are a lot of youth doing positive. So we wanted to bring them into our system, start them with paid internships and fellowship programs, learn what we do, and they'll be the next leaders. Let's don't start when we just post a job. Let's have them already inside and they can apply. So we have a youth office that will be put together with a number of not just outside programs, but internships and fellowship programs. I'm excited about that. The property tax rebate is in here. Very excited about that. 30% full rebate. And I think that was the right thing to do, and our board moved on it, and I'm excited it is in this budget. Also, we're looking at, I know Commissioner Driehaus will talk about the COVID testing piece, and I was happy to support that. We had testing downstairs, well, we had the shot downstairs, but testing still remains to be important as well. Those are some of the things that I'm excited about. There are other things that are in here that deal with public safety and mental health and bike trail with, which I think I certainly support, community events and those kind of things. But this budget has some new stuff in it. I'm excited about it. I think that we're moving in the right direction. And we want to be inclusive. We collect taxes from diverse people. So we want diverse people to be able to participate. And I believe that this budget moves in that direction. And I'm very happy to be a part of this process. There will be some other things coming forward as we implement these things. And I want to also acknowledge that while our numbers are not what they should be as it relates to inclusion, I do want to add that when I came in the door, it was $16 million in the fourth quarter, which is this quarter of last year. We had only spent $1,400 with minority businesses. We've moved to 3.5 million, but with this Croson study being complete next year, I'm expecting that we expand that. And I've talked to our administrator, and we're moving in that direction. So just wanted to say that, Madam President, the budget is the most important thing that we do. If you don't do anything else, you got to do the budget. And I think we've done a great job with this budget that has been inclusive, has been technology-based. We got broadband in here. We've got affordable housing in here. We've got so much in here. It is truly a people's budget. So thank you.
Thank you. And for those who want more thorough review of our budget and what we've decided on, you certainly, once we pass it, can go on our website and take a closer view if you were not able to get all that. And so not only passing our budget, but making sure that those things that we have passed, that the services are actually delivered. And we'll be making sure that that happens. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you, Commissioner, President Dumas. So I want to start off by thanking the staff for all the hard work. Jeff, John Brueggen, the budget director, all the staff that works to get this budget in front of us every year, and the department heads of all the different departments that weigh in and help to formulate what they need. This is the first time in a number of years that we've had a structurally balanced budget. We always balance our budget, but this is a structurally balanced budget, meaning that we have resources now to do things that we have not been able to do and carry a reserve also into the future. So we've made a real investment in our workforce here in this budget and continued our partnerships with our citizens and local jurisdictions, especially related to economic development. So just want to highlight a couple of things that are either new or ongoing in the budget related to the workforce, which is everybody making $15 an hour at the county. Tuition reimbursement is new in this budget. Parental leave, it's only our second year with that in the budget. It's critically important when we're trying to attract young people to our workforce. We've got NACO training in this budget, market rate compensation to make sure that we're competitive, especially now when we're all struggling, and a 3% raise across the board, in addition to the heroes pay that's been paid out and that we talked about earlier. And it provides this stability, I think, for our workforce, where there's now an understanding that we are committed to not only recruiting people, but keeping people for the county so that we can serve the citizens at our fullest capacity. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about some of the other things that the budget does, although I'm very optimistic about the budget. It's a very positive budget. We've been able to do some creative and innovative things here, particularly related to, the Economic Inclusion and Equity Office is being expanded to make sure that we can do better related to our internal workings and making sure that folks get opportunities to participate in the county economy. We've got a different way to look at public safety here with an emphasis on diversion, which is something I know we all support, whether it's a mental health or addiction related issue. People shouldn't be incarcerated because they have a disease. They should be sent to a treatment facility that's more appropriate. There's investments in youth and seniors here, as has been discussed, all with a very healthy reserve that is well within industry standards, which I know is something that we all put a high priority on. So as far as my own priorities that have been added in since the beginning of this process, I just want to highlight those. And I appreciate the support of my colleagues on these priorities of mine and really the priorities of the community. I did all this stuff. I think we're all the same. we don't think of this stuff ourselves. People bring us their priorities and their ideas, and then we respond to that. And so many of my recommendations really build upon what we have done in the past and what we know has been successful. So the community revitalization grants, just putting a little bit more money in there. We just went through our first round and there was a very high demand on a very small pot of money. And so making that pot bigger, I think will help us better partner with the local communities to do some really catalytic projects in local neighborhood business districts. There's also a component here related to large economic development projects in the city of Cincinnati that will allow us to partner in a way that we've not been able to do before. There's some money, as was said, for bike trails through the TID so that we can continue that work. The testing is just a personal concern of mine, and I've heard some concern throughout the community related to pulling back on testing. I don't think now is the time for that. And so there's some money here for us to continue to work in that space. It might look a little different than what we've done in the past, but I think it's still important to set aside some dollars for that purpose. And then lastly, the Divert program, something that we all feel strongly about to protect victims of domestic violence, making sure that that is funded as we continue to try to expand that program throughout the county, outside jurisdictions that already have that. So with that, I want to thank my colleagues. I was happy to support some of the initiatives that were brought forward. New ideas are good, and I was happy to look at all those. I read all the memos with great interest and was happy to support my colleagues as we've moved through this process. So thanks again to the administration, and look forward to voting in favor of this budget.
Thank you so much. Just a couple comments. As I sit here listening to the reports from my colleagues, can't help but think about what a different scenario this could be for the county. I think what really started the impetus of our growth was continuing the sales tax. There was some question about whether or not we wanted to do that. And that kind of took us through this COVID process, not knowing that we will get additional funds from the CARES Act and the ARP funding. So I'm just thinking about the things that we're adding on, the initiatives and what we're able to follow through, and increase in monies, and how this scenario could be so different. So we are really blessed to be able to be where we are now. One area that I'm trying to, and the administration is working with me, is a child support amnesty program. How can we facilitate our ability to help those that are responsible for giving child support, which needs to happen, but maybe they lost their job or the company laid them off, or there's no longer a company, and thinking about trying to put some of that money possibly into the reentry program to be helpful with it, but also making sure we follow the legal ramifications of their responsibility as parents. So that's one area that I'm really pushing for, and my colleagues have been supportive in that. And also, we want to have a satellite office out in the Forest Park area that would be more conducive to those that live out in the Northwest area and not have to come down here all the time. So we are busy looking at that, how that can happen, and I'm sure it will happen very quickly. So those are my major things, along with what has been mentioned earlier. We're all,
Sorry, Madam President, I didn't want to cut you off, so.
okay. Well, let me think of something else to say then. No, but that was all I had, but I'm in agreement with what my colleagues have put forth. And even though we reduced some of the monies and added some monies, but it's a good budget. Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah, Madam President, thank you. Just one quick note of clarification. I think I mentioned this on Tuesday, but just for anyone who might be watching on television or on the internet, who might have been following this process. The initial administration submittal was $313 million general fund. We're now at 324. I just want to note that well over half of that relates to the internalization of agency funds into this general fund budget. I think I mentioned this last time. So this is a Government Accounting Standards Board rule change that requires that the county recognize agency funds through the general fund. So well over half of that increase relates to just internalizing other funds that historically have been in the county. So it's a revenue expense offset. So there's that
that 6 to 7 million is not related to anything additional other than just an accounting change for how we look at different funds. So I just wanted to let folks know that it's not really it is a change of $11 million, but it doesn't really have that net of an impact. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
I know you sent an email on that too, I think. I'd like to, at this time, with no further discussion, to make a motion to approve by leave 3 and 5.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes,
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
thank you so much. We have one additional by leave.
Thank you, Madam President. Let me reset myself again here. Yes, so we have also in front of you one final by leave. This is a resolution directing the county administrator to enter into a cooperation agreement with Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority. This is a cooperation agreement that we do every 5 years with CMHA. And basically what this says is that CMHA will be that their projects will be tax exempt, but that they will provide payment in lieu of taxes in return for the county doing the things that we normally do for other private development in terms of providing water and sewer, sidewalk access, the things to the degree that we are capable and legally capable of doing so, that we would treat public housing developments in the same way that we would traditional housing developments as a component of our strategy to ensure and further fair housing in the county. So this is a continuation of an agreement, a cooperation agreement that we've had with CMHA for many years. This is just an extension, pretty much the same language of the one that has existed since 2016. The administration recommends approval.
Thank you so much. And that was one area that I neglected to speak about as it relates to affordable housing. We've committed 40 million to that effort. I'll open it up for any discussion on by leave 5.
Yes, Madam President, just wanted to add, I did talk with the administration, with Jeff and the administration. Just wanted to make sure that there is good coordination between CMHA and JFS, because they have a lot of people that have to pay the rent and they have utilities. And if we're coordinating, if there's some way they could coordinate that way, folks, their lights won't be off and the water won't be cut off. And CMHA as the landlord will be also paid. So I just think if it's a better way, I don't know what that is, but I wanted to put that on the table where JFS and CMHA come together. And we could probably, knock out a lot of delinquency that is going on. So just wanted to add that in the coordination. And I know I mentioned that to you. You said that that's something that we could possibly also follow up on.
Do they all already coordinate with JFS?
There is some level of coordination. I indicated to Commissioner Reese that we would continue to make sure that coordination happens at an expanded level as well.
Expanded, okay, thank you.
Yep, Madam President. The reason I asked that, Mr. Johnson had mentioned that, because we didn't have the ARPA money and that kind of thing. He thought it would be a way we could streamline it better versus we kind of just asking him, having the person to show up or whatever, but he could maybe help with us, maybe through technology that we have now available, that we might be able to do it in a more efficient way. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
And we can always do things better, that's for sure. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay. I make a motion to adopt by leave 6.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Okay, are we good? We're almost done. Can we make it through? Or do you need a little break?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All righty, so let's move on to our regular agenda. We should ask Eric, should we leave or stay?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, okay.
Good afternoon, Madam
afternoon.
Commissioners.
Mhm.
Thank you for the great work you've done today for the county.
Thank you.
We only have one item today. Item number 1 is a resolution for the 2021 Municipal Road Fund project for the Village of Glendale for the improvement of Sharon Road.
Mhm.
This is part of the list that was previously approved by the board on June 17th. This is an intergovernmental agreement which will allow us to transfer $150,000 from municipal permissive auto tax fund to the Village of Glendale so they can get started on their project.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? I make a motion to approve item 1.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Merry Christmas.
yeah. Our next item, MSD. We have a few items. Oh, I have her down. Yeah. Or number 5, yeah.
Good
Can we
afternoon.
possibly do item 5 first?
Of course.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Thank you. Mhm. Yeah.
For my item, okay. I was thinking it was Jeff's item, so.
No, that's okay. It's been a long
Good
day.
afternoon, Madam President, Madam
Yeah.
Vice President, Commissioner Dreehouse. Jack Rennekamp with Metropolitan Sewer District in the Office of the Director. I'm the Division Manager and the Legislation Administrator. Item 5, let me go through my notes, is sanitary sewer 6594, and it's CSO 83 and 472 dynamic underflow control. The request is for construction of this item. This project is located in the Oakley and Linwood neighborhoods of the city of Cincinnati. The request is to appropriate $4.1 million in construction funding for the project. The total project cost is $5.3 million. CSO 83 and 472 dynamic underflow control, or DUC, as we use the acronym, is a consent decree project included in MSD's wet weather improvement plan, as well as it's a part of the consent decree bridge that's structured between phase 1 and future phases of the consent decree. This project is intended to reduce overflows into the Little Miami River through modifications to CSO 83 and 472, including enlarging the size of the current underflow pipe to the interceptor, replacing the regulator chamber, adding level sensors and telemetry equipment for automated control of wastewater flow via MSD's smart sewer system. And the project is designed to contribute to the reduction of overflows at these 2 CSOs, ultimately achieving a remaining overflow volume, or ROV, of less than 2.7 and 26.5 million gallons per typical year at the respective CSOs. Based upon modeling results performed by MSD, this project alone is anticipated to reduce the overflows by approximately 23 million gallons a year. Happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you. I appreciate your information. Ms. Wall, would you like to make a comment? Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
My name's Marilyn Wall. I'm here on behalf of Sierra Club, and I do want to say I support the solid waste rules. I just wanted to tell the people who've been working on that comment. And also, during the MSD, I want to thank the county staff and the monitor team for providing information and explanations on the CIP and the operating budget all the way up through the night before the vote. They did a good job, and I really appreciate the value that the county provides in reviewing MSD projects and budgets, and I thank you for your work. I wanted to comment on CSO 83 and 472. Certainly a project that you need to vote on and move it forward. It's a consent decree project and subject to fines and penalties for being late, and it is late. Part of our comments, when I've got them in writing to give to you, it centers around the issues surrounding delays, the right-of-way issues, that there's design and there's a break and then there's redesign work done, and some of the documentation on that. And some of this is also related to the funding and cost. There's some odd discrepancies in the legislation between the budgets in that legislation and budgets in past legislation, and also with the expenditures that we have from 2020 and 2019 that were made on this project. They don't add up to the same numbers, so I'd really appreciate if somebody could review what the actual project cost is, or possibly some things. Project numbers changed, maybe some things got lost somewhere or got double counted. I really can't tell. And then the third thing I really wanted to talk about is how this project relates to overflows and bypasses at the treatment plant. Because right now, the sewage is being discharged untreated into the Little Miami River, which then goes into the Ohio River. This project will send the sewage to the Little Miami River, which has frequent bypasses during wet weather. So the sewage will still be going untreated into the Ohio River. We really need to have a public discussion about the benefits and the need and the cost of these projects, so we understand how we are really going to fix this problem. And
Were you finished with your comments? 'Cause
yes, well,
okay.
they're long.
I just wanted to make sure you waited so long. And I would like to say, as it relates to Ms. Wall's comments, the project costs being different, and if they are different, obviously they are, if you can give an explanation, not now, because I don't know time-wise if we have to do it today, but why the project costs are different, and why the change. As far as timeline, is there something that says we have to do it today, but we would have to do it at least by Tuesday? Are you able to answer the questions that she asked?
With me today is Matt Spadari, and I would hope that Matt, who is a principal engineer in engineering division, can answer some of the more technical questions.
Okay.
I have information concerning project cost
Okay.
increases. There was an increase of roughly $987,000 or 36% since the project was in the 2021 CIP, entered into that CIP as a construction for 2021 project. That is principally due to, again, market-related conditions that we've seen throughout 2021 with increases in material costs, labor costs, negotiated easements, that has been a component that increased the cost, as well as changes related to how the project is being costed through a revision in 2021 to MSC's project costing manual. Mr. Spadari could give some specific comments.
Okay.
To any technical issues. Sure.
Good afternoon. My
Good
name is Matt.
afternoon.
Well, I guess about the costing, I'm not prepared to talk about the 2019 or 2020 CIP costs, but regarding the overflows, as Ms. Wall stated, that the intent of this project is to utilize, as Jack also spoke about the smart sewer system, the intent is to utilize available capacity in our sewer network in a more of a smart or dynamic manner, and get more of those flows down to the treatment plant. As Ms. Wall indicated, the treatment plant does have to bypass it sometimes during wet weather, and that goes straight into the Ohio River. But there's also a project that is in the planning stages at MSD to address that need as well there at the treatment plant to address those overflows that were spoken of.
Okay, okay.
And so that this project and that project are communicating in a sense, or in concert with each other. This one's on a sooner schedule.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, because we definitely don't want penalties on delaying the project, that's for sure. So I'm satisfied with those answers. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 5.
Second. Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Commissioner.
Okay, so we can just move on up to item 2 if you want.
Of course. So item 2 is a request, and the remaining 3 items are all construction requests to the board. A request to approve construction of the Muddy Creek, or the acronym that we use in the legislation is MUWWTP, Muddy Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant, thickening, replacement, and pumping improvements. The request is for $7.3 million in construction funding, and the total project cost is $7.9 million. This project is an outgrowth of MSD's 2019 district-wide solids handling master plan. And it was recommended in the plan to proceed forward. And that's what you're asked to consider and potentially approve today, is the construction of that. 2 existing gravity belt thickeners at the Muddy Creek plant that are used as part of the secondary thickening process. In other words, to make waste more thick and in order to process it better, are beyond their useful life. And that's the principal part of the project, as well as a series of pumps, 2 pumps that are involved in that processing of thickened sludge. And these pumps clog when solids content increases over typical levels, and creates an increase in odor, maintenance, and labor and materials costs. This project will also address odor issues related to the thickening process at the plant, and the replacement, which includes demolition of these existing gravity belt thickeners and associated piping, and also replacement of the 2 waste activated sludge thickening pumps, as I've mentioned, and replacement of primary sludge pumps will improve not only the processing of sludge at the plant, but also, as I indicated, better control odors. So the request is for appropriation of $7.3 million.
Thank you.
Happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments? Make a motion to approve item number 2.
Second. Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese. Yes. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 3, if the commission would so entertain it, is CSO 5 water connection, which is a construction project as well. This is located in the South Fairmont neighborhood at CSO 5 Outfall. So the request here is to basically construct a permanent water source for cleaning of accumulated sediment and debris from the CSO, or combined sewer overflow 5. This facility allows debris to build up depending on the amount of overflow within that particular outfall. The facility was upgraded in 2008 with real-time control, which was another smart sewer achievement at the time, to take advantage of existing storage capacity within the 19.5 foot diameter lick run trunk sewer. So what is being requested for this project and the board being asked to approve is, because cleaning must be done daily, a dedicated water source to connect to a water cannon that is used to clean CSO5 to be constructed. Currently, employees must use about 200 feet of hose to connect to an existing water source that is 200 feet away to clean any debris out. This is a risk to both employees as well as equipment, especially during inclement weather. And once this is constructed, there'll be 228 linear feet of 6-inch diameter pipe, water service pipe, that will be available for this cleaning process. The request is to approve $189,100 in construction funding. The total project cost is $346,000.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? I'd like to make a motion to adopt item number 3.
Second. Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese. Yes. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. The final item for MSD for today and for 2021 is a request for 3934 Winding Way sewer replacement. This project is located in the city of Cincinnati's Avondale neighborhood. Their current request is to appropriate $469,000 for construction funding, and the total project cost is $620,000. The existing sewer between 2 manholes is in a poor structural condition and is substantially deformed. So normally when there's these types of situations, MSD would look to line the sewer as a cost-effective and more efficient way of maintaining an existing asset. That cannot happen here because it is so structurally deformed. So due to this level of deformation and the potential collapse of these sewer segments, the plan is to replace these segments of existing sewer. This project will mitigate any risks of sewer backups within the area and any environmental impacts, such as sudden failure of the asset, which would be more expensive and more disruptive to the community and the neighborhood to replace. The request is to appropriate $469,000.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 4.
Second. Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese. Yes. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
commissioners.
Have a good
Have a wonderful
holiday.
holiday.
Yes. You have before you consent agenda items, items 6 through 44. There are numerous items that deal with JFS, which is really the end of the year contracts for services for children and families. We have administrative items in here, resolutions for contracts and development projects. And then we also have liquor permit applications. At this point, I'll ask if there are any questions about any specific items on the agenda.
Yes, Madam President. Just wanted to highlight item number 23. Item number 23 deals with awarding contracts for the parking. Our our parking operations. And I believe one of them are on the banks. I want to make sure, I want to ask the administrator, can he walk us through number 23?
Yeah, this is specifically related to the County Alms and Depke Park House Garage. So this is specifically to that. That's. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, behind the parking garage behind JFS specifically. This isn't for the Central Riverfront Garage or the East Garage or the West End Garage.
Gotcha. Madam President, I just wanted to just highlight for the record, we're in the parking business. We have a lot of garages and we're building garages. And one of the things that I brought up to the administrator, and I just wanted to put it out because we don't get to talk to each other behind the scenes, but wanted to put out, I want to pay closer attention to the parking. I'd like to see some diversity and, maybe these things are broken up. But as we're looking at contracts next year, and I know we're taking a look at all of them, and certainly they have to be bid on and so forth. But we're in the parking business, and I remember some years ago when I was at the city, someone said, pay attention to the parking because that's an area that could have some diversity of ownership in terms of running our parking. So I just wanted to put this on the radar, not particularly just this contract, but anything dealing with parking that we could, work with our inclusion office and administration to look in the future toward.
Okay, thank you. Anything in addition? That's it? Okay.
No
Commissioner
comments.
Dumas? Okay. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 6 through 44.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I usually ask for additional comments, but I'm gonna just kind of leave it at that right now. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.